Sige, lapit mo na. Anis naman ito. Go, 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 go!
Junior! Hoy, Junior! Junior!
And then,
Di ba may assignment ka na dapat ipasa ngayong hapon? Ako muna dyan, hoy! Ako muna. Sige na. Nagsisimula na yung basketball. Yan! Ano ba, Junior? Umayos ka na. Huwag ka nang pahara-hara dyan.
ma'am, excuse ha.
Oh, nabasa ko na yung case study.
Nakikita niyo, may meeting ako dito. Nakakahiya.
Ito, sa revised penal code. Tumahimik kayo dyan. Hoy! Hindi na tayo maabot.
Doon ka na.
Siya na na.
Okay ka lang?
Pipi.
Bakit?
Naman ka ba? Bakit di mo nagagawa assignment? Ganun, sa amin. Kumopya ka lang eh.
Ano nangyari, anak?
Ano nangyari sa'yo? Sa Sunday ka sa exam.
Good morning and welcome everyone to today's session titled Maximizing AAIG or Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government Partnerships in Work-Based Learning for Future-Ready Graduates. Let's open our session with an opening prayer. Let's remember that we're in the holy presence of our Lord Jesus Christ. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
In respectful presence of our brothers and sisters across boundaries and faiths, let us all join in prayer and worship and gratitude and for guidance. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of life and all its joys. We thank you for today, for all its challenges, in all its splendor. We thank you for the gift of one another. O God of infinite mercy and wisdom, only in unity with your will can all our toils have true meaning. Transform us into willing and able stewards of this world and its future. Bring us together to work with understanding and compassion As we toil and grow weary, we pray for renewed strength and resolve. As we experience pain and sorrow, let us be reminded of untold good beyond. As we see pain and suffering, let us be instruments of your peace and extensions of your loving and healing hands. As we gather here today, bless us all that our collect beyond. As we see pain and suffering, let us be instruments of your peace and extensions of your loving and healing hands. As we gather here today, bless us all that our collective knowledge be tempered and guided by your wisdom. Grant us clarity of vision to see the common good amidst all distractions. Endow us with humility and purity of heart to transcend all differences and reservations. When we leave this gathering, let us be the change we seek. As we endeavor to practice what we learn, let us be the good we want to see in others. As we work for our learners and their future, let it be that your will be done. In solemn silence, let us conclude with our own personal prayer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine National Anthem. Good morning and welcome once again to the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series, organized by the UST Alumni Association Incorporated in partnership with the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, or CCPED. You are joining the NCR run of this Caravan Series entitled Maximizing AAIG, or Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government Partnerships in Work-Based Learning for Future-Ready Graduates, hosted by the University of Santo Tomas Office of Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, together with the Center for Innovative Teaching and Educational Delivery, or CITED, and the Educational Technology Center, or EdTech. This webinar is sponsored by Rex Education, for every learner, for every educator, for every parent, for every home, in every home, Rex Education. I am John Paulo Q. Herrera, your session moderator. Joining us this morning as our chat moderator is Sir Alvin Ringo Reyes. Before we begin, we have a few webinar reminders. Please note that this session is being recorded. We kindly request you to rename your profile to include your school or office and full name, like the example provided in the chat box. Kindly accomplish the attendance sheet now, and the link is also provided in the chat box. You may engage with the guest lecturer through the chat box, and please type your questions in the Q&A box. Please do indicate to whom you're directing your inquiries or questions. And please do not forget to accomplish the evaluation form. The link will be opened until 12 midnight today. It'll be provided later in the chat box before the end of the session. And certificate of attendance will be based on the accomplished evaluation form. At this point, we'd like to welcome participants from different sectors. We welcome school administrators and academic staff and professionals, both from the private and public sectors, who are joining us for this leg of the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series. We especially welcome our Tomasian educators from UST who are joining us today, as this event likewise forms part of the semestral institutional faculty training program in preparation for the coming academic year. We hope that you find this session helpful in revisiting your course plans and integrating work-based learning activities as appropriate to your course intended learning outcomes. I'd like to acknowledge at this point some of our participants. May I ask participants who are not from UST to type in the chat box your names and nicknames and or your affiliation. I'll be happy to read it out, perhaps some of them, and make a quick shout out. Please do start typing your names and your affiliations in the chat box right now. I'll just read some of the names and your affiliation. There you go. We have participants from Earl Christian Chan from Faith Colleges. We also have Mary Beth from Lyceum of Apari College of Health. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. We also have Ma'am Mary Ann from UST Sifad. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Good morning, everyone. Also, Ma'am Mitch from School of Angeles. Also, we have from EDOC, we have, of course, from AMV. We are here from Lyceum of Apari. Hello, good morning, welcome. Also we have alumni. I see here Sita from, Ma'am Sita, hello, from batch 1996, UST FMS. Hi, ma'am, welcome, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. We also have from Centro Escolar University, Makati, Ma'am Maria Cristina, hello. Thank you very much. Welcome. From Talisay City, Negros Occidental, Carlos Hilado Memorial State University, Jara Beth Bangoy. Welcome po. Also from USTIR and UST College of Commerce, CFAD, and Institute of Religion, and many more. Thank you for joining us. Do we still have time to read and make a quick shout out? We have a lot of participants. At this point, we have more than 1,000 participants joining us this morning. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, dear Tomasian educators who are joining us today, and of course, our participants from both public and private sector. Okay. And now, I am sure we are excited to know more about the AAIG ecosystem. We would like to welcome and to give us the welcome message and the overview of the program. Let's give a virtual round of applause to the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of UST, Professor Cheryl R. Peralta, DRPH. Dr. Peralta.
Thank you, Sir JP. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen now? Is my audio clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Professor Evelyn Songkong, PhD, President of the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Dean Henry Tenedero, Chair of the UST AAI and the lead leader of the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series, to the members of the board and the other officers of the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, to our colleagues from the University of Santo Tomas, Associate Professor Jocelyn Agtawili, Director of the UST Center for Continuing Professional Education, Assistant Professor Ana Ruby Paez, Director of the Center for Innovative Teaching and Educational Delivery, Assistant Professor Ana Cheryl Ramos, the Director of the Educational Technology Center, our esteemed resource speakers, guests, fellow Thomasian educators, fellow advocates of AAIG partnerships, our dear participants, good morning. The University of Santo Tomas warmly welcomes you to the first leg of the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series here at the National Capital Region. On behalf of our Rector, Reverend Father Richard G. Ang, OP, PhD, I would like to thank the UST Alumni Association Incorporated for this opportunity to collaborate and share experiences in AAIG partnerships as we all aim to contribute to the development of a future-ready workforce. As a comprehensive higher education institution providing quality Thomasian education for more than 4 centuries, UST takes pride in its wide network of partners from among its alumni, the industry, and government agencies who contribute to enriching our academic programs to provide our students with a positive learning experience. These partnerships are especially valuable with the changing educational landscape in response to the dynamic needs of the industry brought about by the fourth industrial revolution, the disruptions to teaching and learning because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the challenges of a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous or VUCA world. Thus, we thought of highlighting the need for closely knit partnerships between the academe, alumni, industry, and government sectors to respond to these changes and challenges together, with the theme of today's gathering, maximizing AAIG partnerships in work-based learning for future-ready graduates. Work-based learning is an approach that is being undertaken globally in order to introduce students as early as K-12 levels to the realities of the workplace and allow them to develop interest, skills, and increase their employability when they complete their respective degrees or programs. Work-based learning falls within the continuum of career awareness, wherein students have the opportunities to learn about work, and these are usually one-time events that expose them to a wide range of career, study, and community options. Career exploration, wherein their understanding of the connection between classroom learning and real-life applications are strengthened through additional activities provided by their respective teachers. Career preparation, wherein they learn through work, through extended opportunities for practical experiences such as internships to develop readiness skills for work and life. And career training, which is learning for work, allowing them opportunities to prepare for entry or advancement in specific careers. For this whole continuum, the partnerships between academe, alumni, industry, and government transcend all boundaries. So these partnerships may actually be interspersed into each level and each phase in the career continuum of our students. Some of these activities may be academe-led, others may be AIG-led or partners-led. So in the use of work-based learning as a strategy for developing competencies for employability and improving or facilitating a smooth school-to-work transition of our students, the following strategies may be utilized by academic staff as well as their partners among their alumni, the industry, and the government. So it can range from what we're familiar with in terms of career services, such as career counseling, career planning, career fairs, presentations, the invitation of speakers from the industry into your classrooms, job shadowing, worksite tours, and even project-based learning. Career preparation, wherein we learn through work, may be implemented through our internships, apprenticeships, on-the-job training, pre-apprenticeships, and even clinical experiences wherein our students interact with professionals in the workplace and have expanded opportunities to learn more about what will be expected of them once they enter the workforce. And finally, learning for work or career training is implemented through apprenticeships, employee development, and on-the-job trainings. All these with the intent of developing the needed outcomes among our students, program-intended learning outcomes that we have defined when we drafted our respective curricula, and ultimately will allow our students to be employable after graduation. For all these to happen, we have to effectively develop the AAIG ecosystem. Within a higher education institution, curricular activities may be intricately and well planned into the curriculum in order to align or ensure constructive alignment of these activities as well as the assessments with the intended outcomes of every course, aligned with the outcomes for the program. These may be supplemented by extracurricular activities that enable students to engage in additional learning opportunities aligned with their respective interests. And these are complemented by career support services that likewise enhance students' understanding of their strengths, which may be their guide to selecting their own career paths in the future. This internal ecosystem is complemented by the external ecosystem supported by the alumni, industry partners, and government partners, with a strong collaboration between all these sectors. Our student program or our academic programs can be further enriched, and we will be able to provide our students with an experience that is real, relevant, and will be useful for them to direct their own career paths in the future. In the case of the University of Santo Tomas, during the COVID-19 pandemic, when we shifted to the enriched virtual mode of instruction, we used 4 strategies, 2 of which are anchored on the AAIG ecosystem. Partnerships with partnerships with the industry and the alumni, albeit done virtually, because of the restrictions to face-to-face activities, were used in order to enrich the experience of students despite the unavailability of actual physical or in-person learning at the workplace. We also enriched our remote encounters with community partners, most of which are government agencies. And we made this accessible to students through the available technology and media. And these were intended to develop servant leadership. These two are components of the AAIG ecosystem, and these have been further complemented by our partnerships with foreign institutions and team teaching approaches. This approach for enriched virtual mode of instruction, while initially done online, this time with a gradual progression to resumption of in-person classes, we continue to take advantage of AAIG partnerships and the AAIG ecosystem in order to resume in-person experiences for our students in the workplace. And because of this, we're grateful that the university's efforts to adjust to the needs of the industry and the society have been recognized by CHED, by Rex Education, and the PBSP through the Gawad Educampion for Flexible and Resilient Management, which was granted to the university in October of 2021. We hope that as we continue to navigate as we continue today's learning session, we hope to glean best practices, understand the challenges, and develop strategies that may be contextualized to our respective institutions, disciplines, or courses as we expand AAIG partnerships to better respond to the rapid changes in the workplace, accelerated by the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the COVID-19 pandemic, among other factors. With a tightly knit and effective AAIG ecosystem, we hope to better able to navigate the VUCA world that we are in. I leave you with this quote, that the best collaborations create something bigger than the sum of what each of us can create on our own. These are the references that I used, and thank you very much. I hope we all have a fruitful learning session ahead.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Peralta. I hope that too. This is a very clear and comprehensive overview. And as an educator myself, or a Tomasian educator at that, I am excited as to how I'm going to incorporate this in my course plan, this AAIG ecosystem. And now, to provide us with more details about the AAIG, about the what and the why of AAIG, or the academe, alumni, industry, and government partnerships, or ecosystem, I am honored to introduce the Vice President of UST AAI, Ma'am Inocencia Aida S. Tioco, RN, MH PED, and the former OIC's Secretary and Undersecretary of the Department of Education, Ma'am Fe A. Hidalgo, PhD. Ma'am Tioco. Ma'am Tioco.
Muted po si Ma'am Ida.
This is the day the Lord has made. To the members of the UST administration, led by Dr. Peralta, the faculty and the alumni, to the school administrators, faculty, and attendees from other schools and institutions, a very pleasant good morning. It has been 9 months since the huge success of the 2021 second AAIG webinar series entitled National Multisectoral Summit for Educational Transformation, an academe, alumni, industry, government collaboration that was held from September to October 2021. This was conducted by the UST Alumni Association in partnership with the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development. Now here we are gathered again in our growing commitment to journey together towards the emergence of an AAIG community of champions, advocates, and partners for transformative education from Industry 4.0 towards a human-centric Industry 5.0. In this light, I wish to welcome you all as we embark on this first caravan of our 2022 AAIG Caravan Series for the National Capital Region, hosted by the UST Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs. Cognizant of the multiple challenges that thousands of our fresh graduates experience in search for rewarding and meaningful employment and career in the world of work, the idea of AAIG collaboration for educational transformation was born in 2019. To better appreciate this AAIG endeavor, let us get to know more about it. AAIG stands for the Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government coming together to forge strategic alliances to establish a common, innovative, and collaborative approach that is sustainable and inclusive to bridge and lessen the gaps in the transition from the academe to the industry of fresh alumni, thus promoting a smooth school-to-work transition by implementing a work-based learning continuum as mentioned by Dr. Peralta. A sterling quality feature of AAIG collaboration is to harness the role of the so-called alumni power. Power stands for partnerships, organizations, will, expertise, and resources. Indeed, let us not set aside alumni power, but recognize the formidable role it can play, since the alumni of our academic institutions are the human resources that now power and will power our industries. It is hoped that as we forge strategic alliances for alumni-centric initiatives, we can nurture new ways of thinking, communicating, doing, and being in the midst of global challenges, especially as we transition in life beyond the COVID-19 pandemic. AAIG is advancing sustainability in a responsible manner by allowing the public and private sectors to proverbially shake hands and pledge together for the common good. And so, I wish to welcome you again, our champions, our advocates, and partners to our webinar. A pleasant day to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Tionco. Thank you very much. Dr. Hidalgo, go ahead.
Yes, good morning, everyone. The AAIG Caravan 2022 series is about coming together towards meaningful public and private partnerships, as mentioned before. It is coming together of hopes and of dreams, coming to life for all those involved in education, in policy making, and implementation. It is the beginning of a more progressive initiative or initiatives for development. This is towards productive partnerships and networks in the immediate future and in the long term for progress and development of this beloved country. AAIG is anchored on the belief that education must serve society as an instrument for fostering the creation, the advancement, and dissemination of knowledge in the midst of an Industry 4.0 stage, and even beyond. And that requires skills for renewed focus on life skills, on career skills. The digital literacies call for higher order thinking, for initiatives and inventive thinking as well from all of us. AAIG is cognizant of the triple goals of equity, of career and life skills, and inventive thinking, as I mentioned earlier. This is not only a listening moment, but a coming together and a springboard for collaborative efforts towards more action, as Dr. Henry Tenedoro puts it. AAIG shall endeavor to enable our children to attain the fullest realization of their potentials, their dreams, and our dreams. This is a huge task, but it is time for us to come together and move our talk in the spirit of collaboration. Please hop in, therefore. Welcome and good morning, everyone.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you once again, Ma'am Tionco and Dr. Hidalgo. I am excited to more about this because we are now moving on to the main session of the event. And after listening to Dr. Peralta, Ma'am Tionco, and Dr. Hidalgo, we will be able to know more about this collaborative efforts from the four sectors: the academe, the alumni, the industry, and the government ecosystem. We proceed now to the first sector, and we're jam-packed because this is the academe sector. Let me just go ahead and introduce our esteemed speakers. We have invited 4 speakers from the academe sector. And may I just say that representatives from our academic units, offering both from basic education and also higher education, are combined here. So we have diverse representatives from the academe who will share how AIG partnerships were forged and how work-based learning is implemented in the curriculum. We are fortunate to have 4 speakers to represent the academe sector. First is Ms. Caroline Nanca Ataide, MSc. Caroline Nanca Ataide is currently teaching anatomy and physiology at the University of Santo Tomas Senior High School, and she has been teaching for the past 9 years, including earth science, earth and life science, biology, anatomy, and physiology, research, botany, and ecology. And presently, she is the chair of the General Academic Strand of the Health Allied of the University of Santo Tomas Senior High School. We also have Engineer Charlie A. Marquez, MSIE, PIE. Engineer Marquez is the current officer in charge of the Industry, Government, Academe, and Alumni Relations Program, or IGAARP, of the Faculty of Engineering and a faculty member of the Industrial Engineering Department of UST. His portfolio also includes over 25 years of combined academic and management positions in the semiconductor and garment industry. We also have Assistant Professor Froilan A. Alipao, MCD. Assistant Professor Froilan A. Alipao is a development worker, educator, and a researcher with communities, community leaders, and students. He believed in and considered communities as classroom and a university where he learned a lot while serving and journeying with them. He is the former assistant director and current director of the UST Simbahayan Community Development Office, and also a research associate at UST Research Center for Social Sciences and Education, or RCSED. And last but definitely not the least, Miss Villa Katrina G. Portera, MARGC. Miss Portera has spent the last 19 years of her life as a Thomasian. She graduated with an undergraduate degree in BS Psychology from the University of Santo Tomas in 2007. Thereafter, she immediately began working for the university as a guidance counselor, a role which she continues to carry out to this day. She is the incoming lead counselor of the Career Services team of the UST Counseling and Career Services. To begin the sharing, let us now hear from Ma'am Caroline Nanka Atayde. Go ahead, Ma'am Atayde.
Thank you, Sir John, for that introduction. Please allow me to share my screen. May I confirm if my presentation is already visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
you. A pleasant morning to everyone. I am Caroline Nanka Atayde from UST Senior High School. I will share with you our experiences in basic education when it comes to work-based learning, particularly on partnerships with various institutions and how these partnerships were incorporated in our curriculum and improved the learning experience of our students. The far-reaching impact of COVID-19 indeed challenged the education system of our country. This pandemic made us not only sail through tumultuous waters, but face unfamiliar headwinds as well. As many of us have experienced for more than 2 years now, this period of uncertainty led to opportunities to re-strategize and leverage the virtual mode of teaching and learning. Allow me to introduce to you one of our subjects, work immersion. It is a key feature of the Senior High School K-12 Department of Education curriculum, and it aims for our learners to become familiar with the workplace, simulate employment, and develop and apply their competencies in areas of specialization in authentic work environments. These objectives are being met by exposing our learners to environments where they can experience the first-hand application of theories and principles learned in the classroom. Pre-pandemic, we are partnered with the Philippine Orthopedic Center, where our learners were able to experience basic bedside care to actual patients with the supervision of a clinical preceptor. Our learners were also able to visit the Red Cross Caloocan chapter, where they had hands-on training on basic life support and emergency medical response. We also collaborated with the UST Hospital Department of Family and Community Medicine and introduced our learners to basic health services. Our learners also visited one of the university's partner community in Rizal, where they perform basic health assessments as an application of the principles they have learned in their subject, Introduction to Healthcare. In observance of the implementation of public health standards, and to adapt to the enriched virtual mode of instruction, the University of Santo Tomas Senior High School Health Allied Strand conducted the program Immersion, or the Health Allied Virtual Work Immersion, for school years 2020-2021 and 2021 to 2022. This program focused on collaboration with various partner institutions and geared on the preparation of online activities related to medical and allied health professions. It is composed of 3 phases: the pre-immersion, immersion proper, and then the post-immersion. For the pre-immersion phase, this is the time of preparation of learners for the immersion proper. At this point, they have learned about the Philippine healthcare delivery system, Magna Carta of Public Health Workers, and the Patient's Bill of Rights. They have also learned about safety in the workplace, therapeutic communication, ethics in the workplace, employment opportunities, and guide to employment documents such as resume, curriculum vitae, cover letter, and application forms. They are also being prepared for a job interview at this point. During the immersion proper, This phase is actually comprised of various activities such as virtual tours, demonstrations, simulations, webinar series, career talks, advocacy lectures, basic telehealth, and Light, or the learner's independent time for immersion. So Light, it's actually a self-paced mode of immersion wherein our learners utilize this time to process and reflect on their learnings from the virtual immersions. This was also used to prepare their digital portfolio. And lastly, the post-immersion phase. So as a final output, the digital portfolio enabled our learners to process and consolidate all the virtual immersions they had for the entire term. The portfolio consisted of job application documents, reflection papers on virtual immersions, answers to guide questions, and of course, photos for documentation. Also, the learners filled out a Google form that served as their EDTR, or Immersion Digital Time Record, to indicate their attendance to the virtual immersions they attended. Our partnerships with different institutions came to play during the immersion proper. We partnered with the Asian Hospital and Medical Center, wherein a virtual tour of their different departments such as nursing, clinical laboratory, pharmacy, rehabilitation, radiology, and nutrition and dietetics. Services offered by each department, as well as the nature of different medical professions, were also discussed. We collaborated again with the UST Hospital Department of Family and Community Medicine. The residents and interns of this department conducted simulations on performing online medical consultation or teleconsultation, created educational videos about diseases and common health topics. They also discussed about universal healthcare law and demonstrated health assessments to give our learners a background knowledge on health services. We also held Project Meet an Expert. So this is a webinar series wherein we invited experts of medical fields to share the nature of their work, experiences, challenges, and role in society as medical professionals. We also collaborated with the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery Life Support Training Center. So the American Heart Association's program CPR in schools was discussed to reiterate the importance of having life-saving skills. Demonstration videos on hands-on CPR and updated resuscitation steps in consideration of COVID-19 were also shown. We renewed as well our partnership with the Philippine Red Cross. So a webinar about the Philippine Red Cross was held to encourage the spirit of volunteerism, followed by simulations on performing basic life support and first aid. In our strand, we also have HEALS, or the Health Allied Learning Series. This is an annual event that aims to tackle various medical professions and how they play a vital role in bridging the gaps between society and healthcare. These reinforce the knowledge of our learners regarding our country's healthcare system. And as a continuous endeavor in shaping our learners as future healthcare professionals, we also conducted career talks in collaboration with the UST SHS Health Allied Society. So in these events, various medical programs aligned with the Health Allied strand were discussed, which help our learners decide which program to take for their tertiary education. We also had webinars to guide our learners to be successful in their college admission interviews and best practices to become skilled and effective in public speaking to prepare our learners for their chosen undergraduate program. It's also vital that our learners are well aware of the pressing medical concerns of our country. In this light, we have Epignosis, an annual installment of advocacy lectures to enlighten and inspire our learners to become future healthcare advocates. And for 2 years now, we are in partnership with the Pi Lambda Delta sorority of the University of the Philippines College of Medicine for their advocacy of breaking the HIV stigma and discrimination. Lastly, our learners were able to render simple health teachings through the use of digital information and communication. As an alternative to clients from partner community, their clients during the pandemic were relatives or friends who they contacted using video and audio conferencing platforms. Considering the data gathered during their their health assessment from their subject Introduction to Healthcare, the students prepared a plan such as diet plan, physical activity plan for their client. So our learners were able to utilize the principles and techniques from the simulations they have attended. For future directions, we will continue collaborating with our present partners. We are also currently exploring the possibility of having new partner institutions for the upcoming school year. New immersion opportunities and creative activities are also being considered to improve the learning experience through virtual immersion. The journey to flexible learning has started, and moving forward, despite the limitations, will surely enable innovative ways of teaching and learning. With that, we also hope to conduct these online activities in a face-to-face setting. I would like to extend my gratitude for making immersion possible. Special thanks to our UST Senior High School administrators and support staff, partner institutions, UST SHS Health Allied Society, and to their advisors, and to the work immersion teachers. Through immersion, we have given our learners not only a glimpse, but a clearer view of what they can become in the future. We may have navigated into unknown waters and headwinds, but we have found the wind in our sails. We stayed on deck to ensure that immersion fostered learning and provided adequate knowledge and skills concerning basic health services. With our partner institutions, we are ready to sail again and together mold future Tomasian medical professionals. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wow, Mama Taide, thank you very much. This is very good. I like immersion. This is very timely and innovative, I should say. And I think it's just really very important to note that as early as senior high school, we're exposing our students to what's happening in the real world. It's just very important to really highlight all of these advocacies and activities that you do in senior high school. So thank you very much, Mama Taide.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Let's now listen to Engineer Charlie A. Marquez. Engineer Charlie, go ahead.
Thank you, Sir JP. May I please be allowed to share my screen?
Yes, Mama Taide, can you unshare? Thank you so much. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Mic test, can you hear me loud and clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, everyone. I am Charlie from the IGARP, or Industry, Government, Academe, and Alumni Relations Program of the Faculty of Engineering. In the Faculty of Engineering, there are 6 programs to offer on-the-job training or industry immersion as part of our curriculum. So we deploy over 1,000 of students to our partner institutions, both locally and abroad, specifically during the special term, which is June and July. So there are, like the senior high school, we have 3 timelines for our industry immersion. Normally, March to May, we conduct already the pre-immersion where we do orientations to our students in the 6 departments on who are our partner companies, and that is the time also where we process the paper documentation requirements. And normally the immersion proper happens in June or July, where our students complete 240 hours of industry immersion. But I learned a new word from Dr. Peralta a while ago. I think they call it now the work-based learning. Okay, and sometimes for the other departments, they do their post immersion and the reporting of the experiences of the students in August to October. But for some departments, they try to finish it by the end of July. All the presentations and sharing of experiences of the students, where they also present the projects that they did in their industry immersion. And to ensure that our students learn what they are supposed to have learned in our partner institutions, we have our industry immersion program outcomes, which is, by the way, also a requirement of CHED, our local accreditor, Philippine Technological Council, PTC, and one international accreditor, ABET, or the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, and also AUNQA. So we ensure that all departments integrate these student outcomes in their respective syllabi. And also to ensure that our partner HTEs comply with this, these SOs or program outcomes are reflected in what we call our outcomes training plan. So during the immersion, each student accomplishes, once they are accepted in the immersion, the student together with his or her immediate supervisor, they accomplish the outcomes training plan on a per week basis. Some companies, they call this the roadmap or training roadmap. And then they work on this, on what the student are supposed to work on week 1 to week 6, because that will comprise also the already the 240 hours of immersion. And of course, they will also check here what are the applicable SOs. And before they can start, to ensure that this is compliant to all the requirements, it has to be approved also by the immersion coordinator, because each student, they are assigned specific advisors or internship advisors. Also, we have two approaches in our industry immersion. One is the task-based, where students are given tasks on a daily basis that they need to accomplish, which is reflected in their outcomes training plan. Now, to ensure that what has been agreed in the training plan is what the student is really doing, we require also our students to submit a weekly journal, where we already have a template for that also, where they outline their daily activities, the number of hours that they render for a day, and another method to ensure that they are doing that, what is agreed on the outcomes training plan and in the journal. Our OJT advisors also try to get in touch with the immediate supervisor through email, phone calls, or we even visit them if, well, that is pre-pandemic, no? Because during the pandemic we had pure online, so only through communication. But this semester, this academic year, we can already visit them again. And the other method is what we call project-based, where students are sometimes individually, they are assigned projects to finish in the companies where they are assigned, or they become part of a team, because it's easier for them to finish their projects when they are assigned with teams, no? Especially in the engineering field, it's easier to accomplish projects like Six Sigma projects or time and motion study projects or design projects when you talk about the mechanical engineering or the other fields of engineering. And for, if you notice, in the academic year 2019-2020, this is the first year when the pandemic struck us. We only have 42 partner, that's why we call them the pandemic partners. We only have 42 pandemic partners, because no industry, no HTE were also prepared for a pure virtual industry immersion. And most of these partners, this is where our alumni comes in. This is the time when our alumni came helping us, no? Companies where our alumni hold senior management positions, they tried to help us even if there is no prepared internship roadmap for our students. They helped us create and accept some students. Can you imagine 1,000, more than 1,000 of them? But it's really difficult that we are not prepared for this. But in the succeeding academic year, in 2020 and 2021, they are more or less prepared already to at least accommodate our students in a virtual mode. Okay, these are the two most challenging academic years. However, this academic year, for this academic year, it has already increased and it's still continuously increasing because we are now allowing them to have flexible or hybrid learning mode. They can break down the 240 hours into virtual and on-site OJT or immersion, or even full face-to-face. Specifically, we need this for our civil engineering, where they need to be in the construction site. For the mechanical engineers, they need to work on the machines. And for most of the 6 departments, they really have to be on site. Otherwise, that is part of the challenge, most challenging part that we are encountering. Hopefully by next year, next academic year, we will already be allowed to have full face-to-face, And I'd like to mention also at this point that the most challenging part where our partner companies were not prepared is the preparation of the preparation of self-assessment checklists, where we need to ensure them that they are also prepared, because the requirement for the safety seal is not mandated by the government to all private organizations. However, the good thing is we are in the process of doing all of these things, and our partner HTEs are very accommodating. That's the good news there, especially if we have alumni who hold management positions, who can at least understand the requirements of the Commission on Higher Education. Also, if you will look at the mode of immersion for this academic year, there are 25% of our partner HTEs who already allow full face-to-face as the mode of immersion. Around 17% of our partner HTEs allow hybrid, meaning partly face-to-face and partly virtual. And a few percentage allow both, and 11% pure virtual. Now, the funny thing here is that there are still other companies who are not decided whether to, this is based on the survey, they are not yet decided whether to accept our students on a full face-to-face or hybrid or pure virtual. I think the reason for this is they are waiting for their self-assessment checklists to be approved. And if not, based on the submissions that they gave us, if they are not approved, they can convert to pure virtual, or if they are approved, they can go either hybrid or full face-to-face. Like I have mentioned a few slides back, we have deployed over 1,000. This is more than 1,000 students, in both local. But this academic year, we did not allow any international immersion because we are not sure about the readiness of the international companies. Okay. And we also conducted a post-immersion student survey. And in the survey, we asked the students regarding their attainment of the student outcomes, together also with the companies. We asked them about how or the level of attainment of the student outcomes. And also, we got some student feedback. Now, I didn't include the slide here about the attainment of the student outcomes, but mostly we got a very good turnout with regards to attainment of the student outcomes. Therefore, what I'm saying is I think most of our students are industry ready when they graduate from UST, and we got also very good feedback, except for the academic year 1920, where they did pure online and most of them were not really prepared. That was really the most challenging because of the few number of industry partners who accommodated our students. We have adjusted our curriculum and we deployed them, or we changed the strategy from industry immersion to research-based and included some trainings. So we have, it's a good thing, we have also our Tomasinov, we have our UST hospital who warmly accommodated most of our students. We have our partner alumni who are owners of companies who accommodated them also. And then I think those are just the challenges that we have encountered based on the survey or feedback given by our students. But they really love if they are in the they really love face-to-face as much as possible, because you can really experience going to work. No, another good thing or feedback that they said was the allowance given by some generous partners, no? But it is not, of course, a mandatory requirement. Now, another function of IGARP is the posting of job opportunities as a commitment to our more than 600 industry partners already. So in March every year, we conduct job fairs, and after the job fair, most of our partner institutions send us publication materials, and we post this in our IGARP Facebook, and the website is coming, and also through Ma'am Oji in our alumni, engineering alumni, they have a website also. And of course, the engineering job fair, we have conducted this virtually last year. No, not last year. Last year and this March. No, the experience is really quite challenging including for our partner institutions. However, there are still a good 25 partners who joined in our engineering job fair. But based on their comments in our evaluation, they really prefer to have the job fair face-to-face. Hopefully, this will already happen by next academic year.
Yes.
And
Engineer Charlie,
yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Finally, the last function of IGARP is also looking for scholarships for our students from our industry partners. And for this academic year, we already got a pledge from ZTE to award us 900,000 pesos worth of scholarship for at least 3 scholars. And not only for our students, but they are also willing to give research grants to our faculty. There are a few that are already ongoing. And finally, our immersion is not only limited to our students, but also to faculty who went straight from BS to master's to PhD, but did not go into to the industry. We also have faculty industry immersion. That's all, and thank you very much, Sir JP.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you so much. We really can tell, like, it's really important to identify these challenges because, of course, our hope is to identify strategies to help solve or resolve these challenges. And I would like to highlight in that particular presentation, which is very rich, Engineer Charlie, is the fact that, you know, the collaborative efforts is really important. Like we cannot just do it alone. We always have to tap our alumni partners and even our government partners in order to give our students the best quality education. And now we proceed to Sir KP, another perspective from the higher education. Sir KP, go ahead, you may now share your screen.
Magandang umaga, good morning, Sir JP. So let me share my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Magandang umaga, good morning to all our participants and delegates for this AAIG series, particularly here in the National Capital Region. The title of my presentation is in Filipino, but don't worry, I will present it in English for the benefits of international delegates. Dikapit tanaw ang pakikipaglakbay sa mga pamayanan sa panahon ng pandemya at higit pa. A presentation of UST Simbayan at the AAIG 2022 Caravan Series National Capital Region Run. So I'm Froilan Adipao, or popularly known me as Puroy. So the keywords in the title of my presentation is kapit tanaw, meaning the kapit is we firmly hold on something that we believe, especially on the tanaw, the vision or point of view. It is very important for a community extension office for other universities, but in the University of Santo Tomas, we call it community development. There is a historical reason why we call it community development. And the tanaw is very important because the perspective will set tone on how we're going to do our things, the different strategies that we are going to apply based on how we see things. But in the approach, pakikipaglakbay, it rooted from the root word lakbay, meaning journey. But we are journeying with communities. We don't see ourselves as a separate stakeholders or entity from our partner communities. We treated communities as partners. So we're the main domain that we are working with are for the communities, with the communities, and for the communities. But other stakeholders will come in also to support the cause of our point of view, the point of view of the university, particularly the Simbahayan, as a lead office for advocacy, community development, and now we introduce the service. The pandemic, so it's not just only the pandemic, but there are many challenges in our society, in our communities, and even with our environment. So we take this challenge that pandemic is also a environmental issue and challenge. Higit pa. So, but it's not just beyond, but we are clarifying that higit pa is not just beyond, but even before and beyond. So, meron pong bago at hinaharap. Kaya ito yung pamagat ng presentation, the kapit tanaw ang pagipaglakbay sa pamayanan sa panahon ng pandemya at higit pa. So this also stands as the theoretical framework of what we are doing in the Simbayan and for the university and partner communities. So as part of the university, we are also advocating to implement and to achieve its vision and mission. But particularly, we have the three C's in the university: the competence, commitment, and compassion. And we have to back up this and support this with our seal of Tomasian education. Particularly, the Simbahayan is obliged and expected to promote being one of the proponents and part of the university is to promote the servant leadership. And in terms of servant leadership, we have to really contribute for the graduate attributes like show leadership abilities to promote advocacies for life, freedom, justice, and solidarity in the service of the family, the local, global communities, and the church and environment. We have also to implement relevant projects and activities that speak of Christian compassion to the poor and the marginalized in order to raise their quality of life. And we have to show respect to the human persons, regardless of regardless of race, religion, age, and gender. So that's the main expectation for us. But we believe that it's not only the servant leadership, we have also to be effective communicator and collaborator, analytical and creative thinker, and a lifelong learner. So it will also support the other Tomasan graduate attributes. So as particularly the UST Simbayan is tasked to develop, implement, and manage the University Community Development Program towards the university's mission of generation, advancement, and transmission of knowledge to form competent, compassionate professionals committed to the service of the church, the nation, and the global community. We are directly under the Vice Rector for Religious Affairs, and it covers different programs and projects of faculty, college-based, and university-wide student organizations. Particularly for the National Service Training Program, we are managing the Civic Welfare Training Service and the Literacy Training Service sections of the NSTP. And we also work with the different alumni groups and associations. But as part of the strategy, we are also working with different groups like NGOs, government organizations, people's organizations, and other faith-based organizations. But during this pandemic, in this given situation, the University of Santo Tomas as a Catholic university would like to contribute and tap internal and external resources of the university as an institution of learning, research, community development, or engagement to resolve the current pandemic and its effects on the society in a doable and realistic engagement. With the mission, identity, mandate, resources, and networks of the university, it has a moral responsibility to respond to the pandemic situation. Specifically, the UST Simbayan shall continue engaging with partner communities and institutions to develop programs and projects. But as an office lead for community development, advocacy, and now for service learning, we have to be clear on what is community development. And it is working together with communities or sectors in order to collectively participate in the enhancement of their well-being. So it aims to capacitate and identify and address their problems. So meaning for this approach, program, or strategies for community development, we are journeying with communities. So they are not beneficiaries, they are our partners, and even the university learn so much from them. So walang nakatataas, walang mababa, but we treated ourselves as co-equals in the process of development. Our another task is the advocacy. Advocacy is the act of pleading or arguing in favor of something. It aims to change policies and implement policies, laws, and practices. The main target are the people in positions of authority and or influence. Its success indicators are coming up of policies, implementations, laws, or practices which improve the lives of people experiencing discrimination, exclusion, marginalization, oppression, subordination, poverty, and rights violations. But now, but there's no conflict between these two mandates. No, we believe that this community development and advocacy can go hand in hand and go together with other related development strategies, no? Like information, networking, partnership, resource mobilization, and other creative strategies. Just depending on the context of our partners, of what will be the possible strategies, and depending on the capacity and charism of different academic units that will involve in a particular context of our partners. Now, we also introduce, in the process of institutionalization of our community engagement, tapping the different academic resources, we are now implementing the service learning in a university-wide level. So it is a teaching method that combines service to the community and student learning. This method allows both the student, the community to engage in the process of learning and development. And as we have mentioned in a series of discussions in orientation of service learning, there are 4 major types of service learning, and there is direct, indirect, advocacy, and research-based. So based from the explanation that I had already laid before, that we can really combine these different types of community engagement, either it's community development, advocacy, service learning, because it will also be complexities and relationship of this different approach. So student organizations can really engage in volunteer initiatives, based on their capacity as a student organization. Service learning, since it is academic in nature, so different courses or programs can implement service learning as part of their curriculum, but they have to balance it with the service component of the learning process of the students. So there's also the equal relationship of students and the direct partner communities, institutions, or sectors that will be addressed by the learning process of the students or engaged programs and courses. So as office, we have this, actually, we have 9 social transformation programs, from culture, heritage, health, education, good governance, employability, socio-pastoral ministry, evangelization, environmental sustainability, disaster risk reduction, and we introduce now the family and household development. So aside from the 8 social transformation programs, we have the clusters of social transformation programs that we call there is Pistang Tomas, what we call the community trade fair. Siglan Tomas, assigned for community-based programs. The Dunong Tomas, these are for community-based education like distance education, tech book courses, trainings, education programs. Alert Tomas, disaster risk reduction and environmental sustainability. But now, this coming academic year, we will start developing and implementing programs and projects related to political education and participatory governance, because we need the basic communities and our partners really need to involve in their local government units, so that they can really lobby for possible resolutions and policies or local laws that can be adopted and implemented in terms of addressing the needs and situations of the community. And also the important is we have the community development researches. One of the unique, the trademark of the university is that we have the approach, social transformational strategies, like what we call the Tomas. Tomas was conceptualized way back 2002, and it is a concrete expression of the university when it comes to community development and other engagement. So we need to have training, education, capacity building, organizing, management for program development, advocacy, research and documentation, and the spirituality of transformation. So it encompasses all the programs and other strategies of our community engagement, either it's community development, advocacy, or service learning, because all these different strategies can also apply this key social transformation of the university. So we are also working with different groups, not only communities, but also dioceses, parishes, NGOs, civil societies, and government organizations, no, like DNR, local government units. No? So basically, we are working in a nationwide scale. No? The alumni, different alumni associations, no? In the different parts of the country, they are also playing major roles, no? In implementing different community development programs aside from the different matters in relation to alumni associations. So aside from the standard procedures and requirements in engagement, because of the pandemic, we have a additional requirements for community development and advocacy engagement. There should be projects that will continue with restrictions, remote, online, and limited face-to-face. So yesterday we heard the practice of College of Science. They have already implemented limited face-to-face in terms of environmental engagement. There are also community development, advocacy, and service learning projects will be comprised of at least 2 phases. Before the pandemic, organizations and implementers are required for 3 phases. All transactions will be online. Submission of proposals and reports, release of budget, vehicle requisition, and other transactions.
Correct.
So I would like to show to you the mind map of community engagement before the pandemic. Remember that before the pandemic, there was a Taal volcano eruption. So the university is very active. But in March 2020, we experienced a lockdown, and we were experience of disorganization due to this lockdown of because of the pandemic. So all colleges, student organizations, communities, and even UST Simbayan temporarily stop and rethink, and reflect of what will be our engagement. But with the grace of our Lord, we were able to experience the difficulty, but we think of a new ways of doing things, especially in community engagement, aside from the teaching and research. So these are just example of different engagement from 2000 up to 2002. So just show you the different the photos and of different engagement. Okay. These are just some example of our engagement, but also the different academic units are very aware of their engagement. We have so much of our engagement, and parang magandang anihin ang tagumpay na ito ng mga different academic units in the university, because we are really contributing a lot, even that in the midst of the challenges of pandemic. So we have to also recognize that we have the resources of human resources. I mean, the NSTP, that we have 9,000 students. They are really doing their contribution for the different partners. We develop the community engaged and service learning researches, integration of service learning approaches of the different faculty and academic programs, continuation of certificate and training course in community engagement, continuation of pandemic responses. We are so strong in terms of engagement with the justice and peace, integrity, engagement with the Dominican family, working for popularization, promotion, actualization of Laudato Si, Fratelli Tutti, and other social encyclicals, continuation of our partnership with different groups, like government organizations, local government units, NGOs, civil society organizations, HCIs, local and international, alumni, parishes, and dioceses. And the challenge now is how to sustain the communication. The partners, communities organize, mobilize during the pandemic. In a way, we develop community-based managed approaches in response to the challenges of new normal. Okay, for that, Maraming salamat. I hope I contributed for the purpose of this
Definitely.
event. Maraming salamat po.
Definitely, Sir KP. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, Sir KP. UST Simbahayan will always be part of the AAIG ecosystem. So thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Now we move on to Miss Portera. Ma'am Portera, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me just pull up my presentation.
No problem.
I have to ask, is my presentation visible to all po, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. Okay. All right, let me just slide. All right. Okay, so again, good morning, everyone. My name is Ms. Bia Portera from the UST CCC Career Services. And today I'm going to be sharing with you how the strength of the UST Career Services is largely anchored on partnership and collaboration with academe, alumni, and industry partners. Right, so to start off, the UST Career Services is a team of licensed guidance counselors who are in charge of most career-related services in the university. So I say most because there are certain career-related services that are not being handled by the team as of now, such as the internship, which is primarily still college-based. All right, but first, let me give you a brief history of the partnership that paved the way for the UST Career Services to become what it is now. In 2014, we received a grant from the USAID Stride to become a model career center in the Philippines. In the years following the conferment of the grant, the UST Counseling and Career Center, as well as other university stakeholders, have continually participated in mentoring, training, and benchmarking endeavors that cultivated their skills and creating relevant and significant career programs for the students. So through these projects, we were able to we saw and experienced firsthand the unassailable value of collaboration and partnership with organizations that essentially share the same aspirations or are headed in the same direction. Under the auspices of USAID Stride, we were able to build and refine the career services into a staunch advocate for comprehensive career exploration and planning, and the provider of top-notch services that align with this advocacy. So as you can see, these are just some of the USAID-sponsored endeavors that we had pre-pandemic. So this was a consultative meeting that we had with Dr. Jeff Garris, who is a USAID consultant. And these are some of the webinars done in cooperation with USAID Stride during the pandemic. All right. So the guiding principle of the UST Career Services is to help students map out meaningful and purposeful careers. This principle translates into three core roles, namely train for career readiness, connect with university stakeholders and industry partners, and provide career information. All right. Now, it is our goal to keep abreast of current trends and changes in the work landscape and offer services that reflect and respond to such changes. So as you can see before you, this is the roster of career services that we offer to our students. Now, so this is given to all students across year levels, and the conduct of these services involve partnership and collaboration with, again, industry partners, the Massian educators and administrators, as well as the Massian alumni. So let me just give you a very specific example of how partnership manifests in the context of our work in the career services team. So for instance, you have here the year level themed career seminar workshops, right? So we discuss various career topics such as career exploration, career clarity, the Massian identity, communication and collaborative skills, job resume building, job interview skills, as well as career leadership. Those are just some of the top topics that we covered. in the year-level themed career seminar workshops. And our default speakers are industry partners, and industry partner representatives, as well as Thomasian alumni. And regarding the Thomasian identity, because we were able to integrate that into the career seminar for freshmen. I remember this was done pre-pandemic. And our colleagues from the Institute, selected colleagues from the Institute of Religion, we invited them to talk about Thomasian identity in the context of career. So that was a wonderful endeavor. And it's important that we invite, like I said, industry partner representatives and Thomasian alumni who are practitioners, because they are able to provide our students with firsthand, in real time, on the ground accounts of what work is like for this particular industry, or what can they expect once they start working or once they start applying for jobs, right? So it's very relevant. It's very relevant to the students, and in turn, the students become aware of what to expect, and they are able to prepare accordingly. Also, another example is a mock interview. The mock interview is a simulation of an actual job interview. And who better to invite, diba? Who better to conduct the interviews but actual human resources representatives from our partner companies. So in this way, the students get to have an experience that is as close to the real thing as possible. So apart from the support coming from our department, the UST CCC, because we still operate, by the way, the UST Career Services team or committee still operates within the ecosystem of the UST Counseling and Career Center. So apart from the support coming from UST CCC, as well as the university, of course, we believe our strength also lies in the effective partnership and collaboration we have established with various industry partners, university stakeholders, as mentioned, and different Thomasian alumni who are all too happy to return to their alma mater and impart that unique and very important brand of wisdom that can only be forged in lived experience. Thomasian alumni are so eager to come back, to talk, to address, the Thomasian students, and the students, conversely, are very eager to hear from the alumni. So it's like it hits different, It hits different. It's always hit different when you're hearing from a Thomasian graduate. So there's like this invisible thread that's connecting the alumni to the current students. It's always wonderful to see them back here. Engaging with a roster of partners has ensured the relevance and significance of our content, which in turn has enabled the recipients of our services to discover more of themselves, align their self-discovery with the career-related opportunities out there for them, and embark on a concrete and properly guided path that will lead to the fruition of their goals. Now, you might be wondering, how did we pivot to the online modality and preserve the integrity of our services? Well, I am very glad to report that with the aid of various technological platforms, we were able to migrate our services to the online modality. Oops, sorry. We were also able to find alternative modes of delivery, such as asynchronous career modules, specifically for the freshmen, and pre-recorded videos of alumni sharing their experiences and helpful tips to the students. Right. Now, the migration of the online modality has allowed us, or finding alternative modes of delivery has allowed us to maneuver around the limitations, and on the other end of the spectrum, leverage the features of the digital platforms available to us. So as you can see, we were able to retain all of our services in the online setup. Of course, majority of them, or all of them, were migrated to the virtual mode. And I'm happy to report that we were not only were we able to retain the services, we were able to add a new one, which is in the form of the careers directory. So the careers directory is a website. It's essentially a website, and that the students can visit at any time if they're looking for job opportunities or internship opportunities, and or apprenticeship postings. And our partner companies are given slots So when when they come to us, we send them a list of requirements that they need to fulfill in case they want to secure a spot in the careers directory, or if they want to be part of the virtual career fair or the mock interviews, or any other services where they can connect with the students directly. And once they've accomplished all of that, then they can secure a spot in the careers directory. They can upload their job postings, and later I'm going to show you some pictures of what you can expect or what you can see in the UST Careers Directory. And this is actually done in collaboration with the OAR and Prospo. All right. We also have, by the way, this was recently launched, the Tracer Study. So this is in cooperation with other departments in the university. All right. Now, these are just some of the pictures or screenshots of the endeavors taken on by the UST Career Services, of course, in collaboration with other departments, and again, industry practitioners and the Thomasian alumni. Specifically, we worked with the Comms Bureau, the Communications Bureau, to make this series happen. This is the Business Unusual. This was done in 2020, in the very early days of the pandemic, actually. And we were able, and just to show you how we make sure that our content is relevant and timely, this series was dedicated to helping our students navigate the new normal, right? So what's work gonna be like now that post-pandemic or during the pandemic? So we had a series of guest speakers for different industries. So we had the education industry, health industry. And so that was made possible with collaboration with the Comms Bureau and, of course, the Thomasian alumni and industry partners. And these are also some of the webinars that we had in this pandemic. This is the Career Basics Jumpstart Your Future, Job Preparation Skills for third-year students, and Communication and Teamwork in the Digital Space. So everything is aligned with what is happening in the world right now, right? And that's very, very important. And then we also have the mock interview session. These are the participating companies. These are just some of the participating companies. So we had industry recruiters to conduct the mock interviews for our students, for our third-year, fourth-year students. And this is also the landing page. These are the landing page of the, as I said earlier, this is a fairly new endeavor in collaboration, in cooperation with the Office of Alumni Relations. This is the University of Santo Tomas Careers Directory. So when you visit the website, you're going to see this. This is the landing page. So if you're looking for, again, job opportunities, internship opportunities, all you need to do is to scroll, explore the site. It's very user-friendly. So you have here some of some of the companies that are featured in the directory. We also have, not only that, we also have alumni stories. So we have alumni stories of very successful Thomasian alumni, eminent in their field, sharing stories, inspirational stories to our students. Also, we have, for more practical advice, we also have various articles in the site as well. So this is for the students to visit and explore. All right, and of course, our partners are basically the same. We were able, in the pandemic, we're very grateful to have strengthened our existing partnership, especially with different departments within the university, such as the Office of Alumni Relations, the Educational Technology Center, the Communications Bureau, and of course, the OVRA. And if you notice, we have a new partner. This is Prospo. Prospo is the careers directory is powered by Prospo. They are an education technology company that specializes in creating careers directory for various academic or institutions and companies. Right. So in the face of inexorable change, the UST Career Services and its academic, alumni, and industry partners endeavor to equip the Thomasian students with knowledge and skills needed to flourish in an ever-evolving world, and to, most importantly, cultivate a relentless spirit that can and will sustain them even in the darkest of times. Thank you very much for your time.
Wow, really wonderful, Ma'am Portera. Really wonderful. Thank you so much for that sharing. I have one word. We just heard the academe sector, I have one word for everyone. I guess we can all agree it's ecosystem, right? We heard one from perspective from senior high school and the immersion also from the higher education, particularly the Faculty of Engineering and the UST Simbahayan perspective as well, and even the Career and Counseling Center. Thank you very much for all your sharing. We learned a lot for that particular sector, the academe sector. So let's not forget about that keyword, ecosystem. Moving on to the next sector is the alumni. And for the external ecosystem, we have invited speakers, particularly alumni partners, to share their experiences as well in participating in work-based learning activities. We are lucky to have for today 2 of our esteemed alumni to join for this particular session to share with us the alumni perspective. First is Dr. Anthony Faraon. Dr. Anthony Faraon is Deputy Executive Director of Zuwelig Family Foundation, a foundation focused on improving health conditions in rural communities by providing training programs for local government health leaders, including local chief executives and health officers, to strengthen health leadership and improve governance. He is also responsible for setting the overall direction for 3 groups: the Integrated Provincial Health System Development Program, the Knowledge Management Group, and the ZFF Institute. He provides portfolio guidance, strategic technical oversight, financial oversight, staff management, community stabilization or mobilization, private sector engagement, and government relations. We also have Mr. Aldi H. Fajardo, MMHOA, MPMG, RND, LPT, the registered nutritionist dietitian or R&D, and currently the officer in charge of the Nutrition and Dietetics Division of Philippine Children's Medical Center. The hospital aims to be a quaternary care, an apex to children's medical, surgical, and nutrition needs. He's also the national president of the Department of Health League of Registered Nutritionist Dietitian Incorporated, or DOH LRNDI. It is an organization of all government hospital dietitians. Ladies and gentlemen, let's listen first to Dr. Faraon.
Yeah, thank you very much, John Paulo. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Greetings to the organizers of this event, especially the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, the Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, and to the Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs. I don't have a slide deck, but I have an AVP which I'll be sharing with you in the second half of my session. So I'll be spending the first 4 minutes sharing with you my, I should say, learning journey the past decades as an alumnus of the University of Santo Tomas. Let me begin by sharing with you that I'm a proud and honored graduate of the University of Santo Tomas High School, batch 1994. I see a shout out here from Mary Rose Coronel. I'm also a graduate of the College of Pharmacy Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology, batch 1998, and of course the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, batch 2003. As what John Paul mentioned earlier, I'm currently the Deputy Executive Director of the Zuwelig Family Foundation, and our work really entails a lot of capacity building of local health leaders, specifically local chief executives and local health workers. Offhand, you may ask, why am I in that field where in fact, by education, I was trained to be a medical doctor. Offhand, early on, I think even way back in high school, I have set my sight really to be a doctor, but not doing clinical practice, as I have been exposed to the work of my father, who is also a doctor but did not do clinical practice. He was with the Department of Health for 40 plus years, and I think that practically influenced me to go in the same field. But linking this to the kind of exposure that I have during my high school days up to my medical school days, I think the kind of education that University of Santo Tomas gives its students really influences them to pursue a track whereby certain values are inculcated to us, the student, to us students, let me say. The values of commitment, competency, and compassion. And this actually really helped me in my current work. The past decades whereby I also pursued further studies after medical school, it really stuck in my mind that these are the core values that I'll be using in whatever field that I'll be pursuing. So in the foundation, we have a lot of collaborative work in terms of pursuing our goal of improving health outcomes, in terms of strengthening health systems, and in building the competencies of our trainees. And in this collaborative work, we pursued partnerships with the academe, partnerships with national government agencies, and partnerships with civil society organizations, as well as the industry. I'd just like to share that while currently we do not have a formal partnership with the University of Santo Tomas, our partnerships with other academic institutions like the Davao Medical School Foundation, the UP School of Sciences in the Visayas region, and other local universities and state universities in Luzon. We've actually trained almost 600 plus local chief executives, meaning mayors and governors across the country. And in pursuing that, really find that there are certain gaps whereby we could actually maximize using available resources, and one of which is really students. And here we've partnered with also with academic institutions like the Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health, but that's way back in I think 2000, the early days of the ASMPH, I think way back 2010, 2011, whereby their students actually rotate in the foundation, in our foundation, not to do clinical practice again, but really to be exposed to community work, to rural development work, and see how leadership and governance in these areas actually improve the lives of the citizens. Likewise, we've partnered with the University of the Philippines College of Social Work, again exposing their students to the work that we do in these rural communities. And likewise, we have partnerships with foreign universities. I think it's University of Australia, whereby some of their students did internship in the foundation and did researches on community and development work. So I'd like to share with you the work that we do in this 4 or 5 minute audiovisual presentation. Let me share my screen, and I hope you learn from the work that we do.
services to local government units, or LGUs, in 1991 led to the unintended fragmentation of healthcare services and increased health inequities. Most local chief executives were unprepared for the responsibility. As a catalyst for better health outcomes, the Zulig Family Foundation uses a strategy called the Health Change Model to improve the capacities of governors, mayors, and their health officers in improving their local health systems. ZFF provides health leadership and governance training programs. During the practicum period of the programs, participants perform leadership acts that address the gap in their health systems. They also undergo mentoring and coaching sessions. ZFF strategy has helped local health leaders in improving their health systems, service delivery, health indicators, and health outcomes. These improvements have led to partnerships with government agencies, notably the Department of Health in 2013. Through partnerships with the government, private organizations, and academic institutions, the Foundation is extending its strategy to more areas and training more leaders. ZFF's ongoing programs focus on 3 areas. First is improving local health systems by enabling LGUs to build resilient health systems that ensure the continuity of healthcare services and programs despite disasters, calamities, outbreaks, and pandemics. ZFF's interventions for pandemic response help the LGUs prepare for projected COVID-19 scenarios, organize community-based pandemic response programs, and deliver effective risk communications. ZFF's work on local health systems also helps the LGUs in establishing the required technical, managerial, and financial integrations under the 2019 Universal Healthcare Act. Improving nutrition, particularly during the first 1,000 days period or from conception until 2 years, is another focus area. ZFF helps LGUs create a nutrition system that is integrated with health and non-health sectors. The program aims to prevent stunting and wasting. The third focus area is reducing adolescent pregnancies. ZFF has been helping local chief executives and youth leaders establish systems that prioritize adolescent health.
I do believe in the positive outcomes brought by our partnership with the Zulig Family Foundations in the past few years. ZFF provided our province with interventions focusing on the improvement of health conditions of our people in the province.
Kulang ang amon kaalam, kay wala makita ang kahalagahan sang nutrisyon. Sang pag-abot sang Zulig Family Foundation, kaupod ang Nutrition International Canada, nakahatag sa amon ang dako nga hope nga matutukan namon ang nutrisyon sang amon pumuluyo diri sa siyudad sang Tacloban.
Our role as youth leaders is to ensure that right choices and responsive AYSRH services are accessible to our young people. It is my personal vision that a child should not be burying a child.
The Zulig Family Foundation looks forward to seeing more local leaders and health officials bring about sustainable improvements in their health and nutrition services and programs to realize healthier lives for all Filipinos.
Yeah, I think I have consumed my 10 minutes, but before I end my session, let me just say that I think our work has a lot of synergies. In fact, with the earlier 2 presentations of the school, the UST Senior High School and that of Simbahayan. And maybe as a recommendation to the organizers and to the university is really to explore partnerships, of course, with industry and in fact also with civil society organizations where, you know, our students can really be exposed to real life experiences. So with that, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faraon. I really appreciate this. But thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for sharing the work that you do, and I'm sure UST is very proud of you. Now we proceed to Sir Fajardo. Sir Fajardo, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Sir JP. I hope I'm coming clear and also my presentation.
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
With that, let me just start for saying I'd like to be grateful for the invitation from the Office of the Vice Director for Academic Affairs, Center for Innovative Teaching and Education Delivery, the Educational Technology Center, the Center for Continuing Professional Education of the Graduate School, and of course the UST Alumni Association Incorporated. As always start, we always say Tomasian greetings of peace to everybody who's attending this network of our beloved university. Let me just start first with, as I presented a nutrition and dietetic engagement program to our future colleagues. We just want to have a few definitions as to what is nutrition and dietetics. It's been said, nutrition is the study of nutrients in food and how the body uses them and in relation between diet, health, and diseases. While for the dietetics, it is actually the science on how food and nutrition affects human health. You know, here in the Philippines, we do have what we call the Republic Act number 10862, or also known as the Nutrition and Dietetics Law. This is actually an act consisting of about 46 sections divided into 9 articles, where it is to regulate the practice of nutrition and dietetics in the Philippines. As we all know, it's just not part of food we eat that has significant impact on our health, but mainly whatever we have taken into our system, we have also an adverse effect. That's why regulation of such practice is highly needed. It is actually an appeal from the old one based on 1286 that was a presidential decree under the President Marcos during that time. We are in now, as we established in 2017, or rather 2016, this new law, the CHED also issued the Memorandum Order number 14, series of 2017, which then indicate for the policy, standard, and guidelines for the Bachelor of Science, Nutrition and Dietetics program. Just wanted to show career opportunities for PSND graduates, especially upon passing the board examination. A registered dietitian can go work in a clinical setting such as hospitals. They can also focus as a sports nutritionist, food service nutritionist, and also research laboratories, test kitchens, academe, entrepreneurial, nutrition dietitian in food establishments, and also as a free course, which is a very good preparatory course for medicine. So what is BSND? The Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics is actually a 4-year program that develops students to be globally competitive professionals with relevant competencies in 3 areas of nutrition, such as the hospital, community, and also in food service. We had like to integrate academic and clinical knowledge and skills, excellence in teaching and development, proper values and attitude in the exercise of profession to answer the changing needs of our society. I just put here some of the learning outcomes, which is actually coming from the UST EdUC website, referring to the BSND course. Basically, because this is a new course, I'm a graduate of an old curriculum of the BSND. So just to highlight, always feel and instill, demonstrate compassionate and committed service and response to the needs of the community is characterized by the teaching of St. Thomas Aquinas. When I was invited here, actually my engagement with the UST-BSND program already happens like in the last years. This is within the nutrition education, a professional subject within the curriculum. It has a lecture and also a laboratory. In the students are being grouped and assigned to come up with an IEC materials that will be able to help or to execute within the community setting. So just wanted to show some pictures that which has been allowed by the students also to be shared. This particular session, we are having actually our first initial conversation of what they are targets, of what plans do they have for the community. So we already started mentoring them and nurturing them on what possibility, because though this is not a face-to-face discussion, and in a public health setting, to be at the public health face-to-face is a main goal, but then because of the pandemic, just have to move and use and utilize whatever platform that we will be having. So with prioritizing safety of our students in the community, so we hope to have this webinar platform wherein they started dealing with their ideas and share with us as a panel what are their thoughts and what are the subject matter and specific target people that they wanted to deal with, coming up with their own IEC materials. So with these all IEC materials, this actually comes to deliberation with their own group, coordinating and being validated by a professional, or rather a registered nutritionist dietitian in a public health setting, or where they choose the area where they choose to implement such programs, either by city, municipality, or even into their provinces. We're very happy to engage them because you can see that they wanted to have change within their community. Not only, especially those working, living in the province and who were actually probably stay in their provinces while there's still pandemic going on and while the education sector is on the online platform. They see the value of nutrition during this pandemic and they wanted to push forward, helping and promoting good nutrition and good health within the community. So this is one of those examples. As you've seen, or you can see, this is actually translated into their local dialect because, as stated, it's a nutrition education plan, mayad mga pagkaon para sa maungga na tol. So this is actually translation in Filipino, or rather in Tagalog, it is maayos sa pagkain para sa mga anak natin. Mainly the target was the children within the community, addressing some issues of malnourishment. It can be a severe or moderate malnutrition. It is quite common based on a study has been done, National Nutrition Council, all throughout the nation. So to address such, these particular IEC materials has been scrutinized, even up to the budget. The budgeting of the proposed material that they are having, the program that they will be having. Also, an artist for such examples of materials that they will be using, even the colors and all the aspects that we can include, such as marketing of their IEC materials, validating the facts, validating all the necessary information that will be shared to our community. And what we're very happy and what we're very glad to hear is that this is one example. I think this was last 2021 when we actually had our first session. One of the projects that came out that time had a fulfillment to actually be executed on the public health setting as it is. So this particular output of the student, it gives us joy because you can already feel that they, even as a student, being a student, a Tomasian student, they can already be a part of a community. Although we know for a fact that this is not new. We have a lot of students, Tomasian students, who at their level as a student can already be a good example in the community, have a good impact and output that can be shared and benefit the area that they are having or the community that they are having. So this particular area has been executed within community nutrition. I think the professor just wanted to mention Ms. Lynn Ngit Prasada, who actually invited me to have this as part of this program, wherein there's a lot of engagement that is happening, not only within my end, but also to a lot of areas, such as I mentioned to you already, local health nutrition, also some of the marketing staff or marketing personnel that the students may engage to, and also some of even the editors and all that outside the university. This makes the students' learning holistic and that they'll be able to understand. So throughout all this spacing, there is a monitoring and mentoring that is happening also. And with that, the fulfillment is and the impact, it can be felt within the community, especially with public health nutrition. So with that, I would like to say that benefits of work-based learnings are extensive. It's a powerful educational tool that the learning style that has to be proven effective, but with tough challenges that must be tackled for it to be successful. With hard work and diligence, work-based learning can provide valuable education experiences for our Tomasian students. With that, thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you very much, Sir Fajardo. And I have two words, compassionate and competent. We just heard the perspectives of our alumni, and UST is so proud of you. As a Tomasian educator myself, I think it gives us joy to listen to alumni and share the work they do. So thank you very much for doing what you do. And it's also refreshing to actually listen to apply the things that you've learned in school and even the values that you have acquired from UST. Really competent and compassionate. So thank you very much once again. At this point, we will have a quick health break. I will be playing two short videos while we do this, or while you have your quick health break, and we will be back and listen to the last two sectors. I am sure that you are still you're staying and you're learning a lot from all of the speakers and the sharers. So stick around.
Go! Junior! Hoy, Junior! Junior!
And then,
di ba may assignment ka na dapat ipasa ngayong hapon? Ako muna dyan, hoy! Ako muna. Sige na. Nagsisimula na yung basketball. Yan! Ano ba, Junior? Umayos ka na. Huwag ka nang pahara-hara dyan.
Ma'am, excuse ako.
Oh, nabasa ko na yung case study.
Nakikita niyo, may meeting meeting ako dito. Nakakahiya.
Ito, sa revised penal code. Tumahimik kayo dyan. Hindi na tayo maabot.
Doon ka na.
Siya na na.
Okay ka lang?
Pipi.
Bakit?
Tamad ka ba? Bakit di mo nagagawa assignment mo? Yan lang, tabi sa amin. Kukopya ka lang eh.
Anong nangyari, anak?
Anak, ano nangyari sa'yo?
Thank you once again to our dear sponsor, Rex Education. In every home, Rex Education. We are back. I hope you guys are all back for the last two sectors. We proceed to the industry sector. We are joined by two of our industry partners in the university. Our first speaker from the industry sector is Mr. Aloysius Michael, the Assistant Vice President, Operational Excellence of DUCIT International, an industry partner of the College of Tourism and Hospitality Management. Mr. Michael has extensive background in both the hospitality and the education industry. He has held both operational and management roles at DUCIT International, the Ritz-Carlton and Montego resorts, including roles as General Manager and Corporate Director of Rooms and Security. He was also an operational leader for DUCIT Hospitality Management College, Manila, and a Deputy Chief Executive of Sunrise Global Chef of Academy, Singapore. We welcome Mr. Aloysius Michael. Next is Mr. Joseph Richard Katubag, MBA, the head of the Service Delivery Management Globe Telecom Incorporated, the industry partner of College of Information and Computing Sciences. He is an IT leader having 14 years of combined solid experience on IT service management applied on multiple industries, specifically telecommunications, fast-moving consumer goods, and information technology, which he built his career on. From the rich industry experience, he also contributes in building talents in UST capable of facing industry challenges, as he teaches as a part-time industry instructor in the College of Information and Computing Sciences since 2015 up to date. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph Richard Katubag, MBA. Now we give the virtual floor first to Sir Aloysius Michael. Mr. Michael.
Good morning. Thank you very much, So allow me to share my slides. Let me know if you can see them.
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me to this session, to the Vice Rector's office and all of the leadership of the university, and in running this AAIG. Dusit was very fortunate to be partnering UST in this venture of virtual internship. When this first came to us, we were in a predicament because we were so used to physical internship programs in all our hotels. So with the pandemic, we were already forced to think differently on how to continue operating our business, how to retain our talents when there was no business, there was no travel. And when this internship opportunity came up, we were trying to figure out what can we do that does not dilute the purpose of an internship, which is education, right? And how do we ensure that the students who are partnering us in this journey have a fulfilling journey with us? They learn, they are able to establish what they were hoping to learn, and we can deliver more, right? And that's the purpose of what we're going to share with you in a moment. So the objective of this internship was to provide a practical experience for the students, virtually, of course, to strengthen their knowledge and background in hospitality management. 600 hours over 10 weeks, and the period that was covered was from 20th of September to 29th of November last year. Dusit International is not new. We have been around for over 70 years. We are a Thailand headquartered company, but we are present in over 13 countries, over 300 accommodation units with 11,000 rooms. We are also into hospitality education in two of our colleges, Dusit Hospitality Management College in BGC in Manila, which is unfortunately closed due to the pandemic, and Dusit College in Srinagar in Bangkok, Thailand. We are into foods, we are into property development, and other hospitality-related services where we provide consultancy to both hospitality professionals, institutions, and non-hospitality professionals that we work with in order to improve their businesses. We have several brands that you see on the screen. And we are extremely honored to be able to partner University of Santo Tomas. I actually came to University of Santo Tomas not too long ago, and it was an awe experience for me. So the stakeholders in this virtual internship was 9 corporate leaders that were handpicked to be project coaches for the students, 4 internship facilitators and trainers, including myself, 2 guest speakers, and over 10 actually, that's why 10 plus project presentation observers, because we wanted to ensure that the students receive feedback from various aspects of our business here. And from UST, there were 20 fourth-year students studying Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management and majoring in Hospitality Leadership, with 10 faculty advisors. So we also wanted to ensure that it is not a boring program for our students who are miles away. We wanted to ensure that they also have a holistic experience. So we created program activities together with our learning methodology. So the students were broken up into 5 project teams. Each project team had 4 students. We had weekly progressive project assignments. Monday, the assignment is given. Thursday, it's reviewed, and Friday, feedback session is provided. And we also provided them Dusit programs that are being undertaken so that they don't grapple with no information. At least they have some sort of direction. And we were giving continuous guidance to the team very regularly through our coaches and our facilitators. And we also had the teams present to each other, cross-team presentations for peer feedback, not just coming from the Dusit International team. So the 5 projects that were given: number 1, customer experience. How do you create a bucket list of innovative ideas? Because today's world is about disruptive innovation, right? Especially what the pandemic has taught us in the hospitality industry. So how do you create a bucket list of innovative ideas to drive guest experience and to enhance Dusit's graciousness? Second project was centered around the rooms division, how to propose personalized initiatives to increase guest satisfaction and loyalty. The basis of this is that, especially with the pandemic, people are not just going to stay in a hotel, but they want to have a holistic experience centered around them, and as far as possible to have a personalized experience in and around the hotel. The third project was on wellness. How do you develop a plan to position Dusit as a regenerative hotel, hotel or resort for that matter? 4 was on marketing, to enhance Dusit's member experience through digital solutions and platforms. And the 5th, in one of the most important topics today, is how to create talent development strategy to motivate and develop employees to enhance career advancement, as well as to have these talents contribute back to the companies, to be part of the company's growth and to help the companies grow. These are the 20 students who are divided into the 5 working groups. Personally, I enjoyed working with every single one of them, and all our project coaches learned a lot from the students as much as the students learned from the project coaches and the facilitators. So together with giving them projects, we also created energizers, engagement activities, so that it's a holistic, it's a fun experience for our students. So we had team bonding, one-to-one chat with facilitators, would you rather question sessions, and guess whose baby photo, or what is the weakness, and appreciating a friend session, right? It was really, really fun. To boost creativity, imagination, we had virtual charades, we had Halloween costume competitions, and creative drawing games. And the idea behind this energizers was basically to ensure that the students have influencing and selling skills, which is very important, not just in the hospitality industry, but any industry go to, right? How do you sell a product spontaneously? How do you do storytelling, right? It's a story that sells a product. It's a story that sells a service today, right? So how do you do storytelling, and how do you reflect on your own strengths and weaknesses, and how do you appreciate a friend, meaning how do you collaborate and work with a team? That's the idea behind some of these engagement activities that we held. And 3 students who came up very top, Bien, Nico, and Angela, they each won vouchers to Dusit Thani Manila in Makati, right? They were one of the most engaging students throughout the whole sessions in the projects as well. We also created self-paced learning for them through our education link called Lobster Inc. So hospitality essential courses, food safety, hygiene, COVID-19 programs. The students were asked to undertake these learning programs on their own. But of course, we monitored, we knew who logged in, who did not, but we had no issues. Everyone was enthusiastic about it. We held virtual training sessions for all of them. How do you do F&B marketing? How do you do a sales pitch? What is some fine points on presentation skills, especially virtual presentation skills? Yeah, we did that. We did self-improvement activities, guidance guided meditation practice using sound bowls. First time we did this virtually. Had motivational talks. One of the talks, for example, was I had a session with the students on the hospitality industry. And we allowed the students to ask whatever questions that they wanted. So this is the model that we based on: 70% experiential learning, 20% social learning, and 10% formal learning. All of this, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, was done through Microsoft Teams. Like I mentioned, the project teamwork was guided through a network of coaches through online training and also virtual training. Yeah. So the assessment framework that we use, because it's an internship at the end of the day, so we wanted to ensure that the students were learning and we were giving them feedback on it. So the timing was after 5 weeks and after 10 weeks on the mid-project evaluation and project evaluations, and the project coaches were the one evaluating them, right? And the weightage was 30%, or rather 60% in total. As a group, we were looking at project presentation skills. So, and the criteria was what the initiatives that were put in practice and how did the team deliver, and not just about the team, but every individual presenters, how did they collaborate as a team and how did they present it, and what was their pitching skill styles, and were they effective. This was the evaluations done as a team, and the presentation panel included some of the senior executives of DUSIT, who gave feedback, and a total of 40% was for this project presentation. Okay. So the outcome when it comes to students was about applied academic background into real life work experience. We learned that doesn't mean that if you're not in a hotel, you're not going to learn about the hotel. Pandemic also taught every companies that work from home is not a bad thing, right? Today, we can do anything that we want from anywhere in the world as long as we are virtually connected. So we wanted to give them the real life work experience through the engagements. The student to have acquired work ethical values and the right mindsets in becoming a successful hospitality professional. We provided them opportunity to think out of the box. That was what we were pushing them towards, yeah? Being innovative, being collaborative, to look at one of the things we told the students is go out there, look at the industry, but don't propose what the industry is practicing. Come up with something if there is no framework for you to work on, right? The idea is for them to be agile and looking at presentation from a realistic perspective. And we also told them, think from the perspective of a guest. You are the guest. What would you want your future hospitality business to be? And we also introduced them to a continuous network of contacts within the industry, which will help them as part of their growth. For the university, opportunity to understand the needs of the industry and support the students accordingly, especially with this transcending environment right now. And of course, for us to strengthen relationship with UST AAIG partnership. And for DUSIT, it was an opportunity for DUSIT leaders to practice coaching because we wanted it to be a learning experience for both parties. And from the coaches, some of us were grooming them because as part of their future growth as hoteliers and leaders, there were fresh ideas and inputs from the students because they are not from the industry. So they were able to generate ideas that they are not bogged down by tradition, which helped us a lot. It increased the diversity in our team because we had our own team work in collaboration from different divisions in order to support the students. So there was additional assistance for us, and of course employer branding, getting our brand out there to the students, through the students. So this was something new to us, and we felt that this is a way of the future, and we could consider this as part of our new dimension in the way we approach, because we realize that hospitality professionals have always been very reluctant to change before, but in today's world, in the virtual world, anything is possible. So it gave us an opportunity to look at different perspectives, and we are even working on virtual collaborations, not just internship, but with our partners who are miles away. Right now, we're talking to an institution in Europe to look at a collaboration of sorts, and so on. So it was an amazing journey for us, and I heard from the students that they had an amazing journey as well. Yeah, that's my sharing. I hope it was fruitful.
Definitely, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. You know what? It's just so wonderful to hear that our students enjoy the virtual internship program and the well-designed learning experience that you give to our students. So thank you very much, Mr. Michael.
My pleasure, sir.
And now, Sir Katubag, Sir Richard, go ahead.
Thank you. So let me just share my screen.
Sir Michael, kindly unshare. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying my level best. Give me a moment, yeah?
It's okay, sir.
Oh, no.
Right. So while my screen is loading, I would just like to first give my thanks for actually inviting me, especially to the Office of Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, as well for the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, and then the respective officers from our government and different industry partners here, including to our members of the faculty and even students and participants from other institutions as well. Now, before I actually proceed with my talk, I would just like to first give a brief background in history, why I actually came up with such presentation. And I also tried to tie it up with the different presentations that have been shown and discussed by our respective speakers as well from different from the academe, from the institutions, alumni, and even the industry. So I was actually tasked, invited by Dr. Peralta to talk about having to be able to present the ideas on how we can bridge the academe and preparing actually these interactions between these different institutions to be able to have an effective learning. And I actually came up with the concept of this experiential learning, and coming from this term, from the word experience, is actually trying to do it as it is. I tried to consolidate everything that I was actually able to experience personally. I have included all of the different perspectives and the results of such observations in even experience. Now, just to also give a quick idea to everyone, I'm trying to present this in three different perspectives. Me as an industry partner, because I have been working on the IT industry. Also, wearing a hat of a faculty, because I'm also doing as a part-time faculty, and likewise as an alumni. So I think it's very important that we'll be able to tackle all of these three specific areas. But I also tried to keep my presentation as simple as possible, because it's going to be quite challenging for us to actually shorten it within a 10-minute window. But I'll proceed now, and I'll try to express it in different perspectives and try to relate on different audience. First, I'll start off with identifying the different challenges of the academic industry landscape. I have heard several talks a while ago that in which I would agree to, and I would express that it's really good that the industry has already started and working on laying the foundations for this linkage between the academy and industry. But I have to quote some observations coming from Samuel Odoya, which he mentioned and emphasized that academic institutions and industries are actually performing on their own terms, and without little or no coordination or collaboration between the two. Coming from this statement, and also coming from the main experience, it is true that somehow there is a certain level of division or silo wherein industry would look at, and likewise academia would look at. And that actually is one of the biggest challenges in terms of actually bridging the academic industry landscape. To make it more complicated, the COVID-19 pandemic has actually changed the industry and academic landscape much worse, because definitely it actually changed the workplace conditions in the difference in skill sets. And I think to my colleagues from the faculty, you might also observe that there has also been a major increase in terms of a demand of specific talents from the industry that is more, flexible and adaptive to the different ways of working. And likewise, on the industry perspective, we might have also experienced a bit of difficulty in terms of trying to satisfy our own workforce demands that would have the skill set that we have. But these things and observations are actually natural in a sense, and it's pretty much normal on how things are actually doing. But I would like to show you a framework, or actually a guiding framework, for us to actually show the contrast between the academic and industry, and for me to be able to showcase where the gap is actually coming from. Now, I would like to emphasize on three main pillars here, which is learning pillar, the perspective pillar, and the communications pillar, while trying to map it out in terms of comparing how does the academy, meaning the students, would think of it, and likewise the industry partners would actually think of it. And as I go through, I'll be giving quick anecdotes to actually make it more relatable. I'll start off first with the learning. In terms of defining the learning pillar, it's actually a combination of the foundational concepts, meaning the theories that are actually being thought of, the skills that are being built during the stay of the student on the universities or even institutions. But it has, for it to be holistic, it has to have an opportunity to incorporate experience into it, for it to be much more broader in a sense. Likewise, to also incorporate the successes and failures that a person would have to actually consider or have included in their own experience. Students would lean towards on looking at it more on a theoretical side. But it's not surprising. Students are actually expected to understand the fundamental concepts of it. But likewise, the big gap there is that from the industry, when they are trying to get candidates, and I'm also guilty at this at some point when I try to interview candidates, we tend to be more looking into the practical side of things. And whenever I experience interviewing fresh graduates, most, if not all, it's not everyone, but most, I have seen candidates that are always trying to answer it and anchor it based on the theoretical concepts. When you ask them something, they would define it based on the book definition. That, in a sense, is already a gap in terms of the part of the spectrum. So later, I'll go deep dive into it. Next would be the perspective. And this is where I'm coming from. That's why I've mentioned that I'll try to speak on it in different points of views. Because students would really look at it normally in a smaller picture, which I symbolically placed here as a piece of the puzzle. But those people from the industry would really want candidates to look it on a bigger picture. That again is also a gap in a sense. And also in terms of communication, academe or the students tends to be good listeners. And industry people tend to be very vocal in terms of communication. But I would like to emphasize here that even though that for all of these three pillars, even though that they are students and the industry are actually lying on different or on the opposite side of the spectrum, it's really all about how can we actually integrate all of them, create a program and plans to actually bridge all of these. Now, I'll deep dive more into these details. I'll start off first with learning. Now, I actually tried to be more symbolic here, showing memes to make it much more relatable, especially to our students here. On the academe, because students tend to be more theoretical, you might probably think, especially the students here, and I think you'll agree with me, you may probably ask, how can I apply math? That's practically a question of a student. But in reality, it is applicable. You might probably ask, how is calculus applicable in my profession? And I think that is one of the major attribute or driver why students tend to actually neglect different core subjects in the university. The second image that I would like to show you here is that some students might just only wanted or when they graduated, they forgot what they have actually learned. So this is what we are calling as, or symbolically speaking, as selective amnesia. And there are students who are really like that. But from these two images, you would really ask, what's the reason behind? And the main answer there is actually all about relatability. And that's my highlight there, the headline, emphasizing relatability on the 4 main years. And students are actually trying to find a way for them to relate the core concepts with the practical applications. And like what I've mentioned here, on the opposite spectrum, industry is really looking at the practical side of things. Like say, for example, my third image here, they're actually asking for an interview. We're looking for someone who has 30 years of experience at an age of 20 to 26. It might be a joke, but sometimes it means something, and it's true. The main reason why industry should actually look at it this way is, of course, it's all about practicality. On an industry point of view, they will have to look at it more on cost savings, really. So, and really getting more value out of the investment. Hence, that's where they're coming from. So, given that, which I also have noted here now, the items that I have mentioned, what I would recommend is for the industry to actually shift left. What does shift left means? It's actually all about reinforcing the application of these key concepts based on how they will be applied on the industry perspective. It's actually very wise for us to maximize and use different senses of the students in terms of how they can see, how can they feel, and how can they actually experience what is it like in the industry. And I know that this is something that we are doing as part of the internship program. And that's right. But there are still areas that merits improvement on that specific aspect. And likewise, it is also very important to keep your students excited through progression. And anecdotally speaking, so I try to incorporate more of my experience in terms when I do the teaching. After I discuss the concepts, I try to actually give anecdotes or stories based on my actual experiences. They actually had this excitement in mind that they know that there is something way bigger when you get out of the university, something progressive, and something way beyond the challenges that they have on the university. And it's very important for us to actually keep that fire burning in them. Okay. Now I move to the next pillar.
Sir, sorry, last 1 minute. I am so sorry, sir. Thank you.
All right. So for the next pillar, it's really a difference in perspective. In what is I have to emphasize here is to understand where everybody's looking at. Okay. And it has to work both ways. Both the activities in the academe and the industry should be incorporated to practice and understand the different point of view. And this will actually come up with my summary recommendation in a bit. And last pillar, which I have mentioned here, is all about communication. As a listener, they tend to be receptive. But when you go to the industry, they tend to be commanding or vocal. Engagement has to actually come into play here when you do or emphasize on communication in creating or crafting effective ways of learning between the two. And I'll have to summarize it with this slide. If I can just extend for a minute. Those areas that I have marked here in gray, these are the focus areas that the industry, educational institution needs to focus on. Likewise, the blue ones tend to be more on the task that has to be done on the industry side. And I will just have to nitpick a bit of these now. Partnering with industry to align the roles and career roadmap with curriculum. And it's really good to actually have your own industry partners with your respective colleges to understand what's really happening on the industry. And this is something that we're actually doing right now under the College of Information and Computing Sciences, specifically under the Department of Information Systems, which I closely work with. And this is something that we would like to really see the value on. And we have seen already certain steps, progressive steps, results out of it. Next is about maximizing the feedback loop. It's very important to understand what the industry needs, and institutions likewise has to adapt. Institutions, on the other hand, should be able to also communicate to the industry that there might be certain limitations or a certain landscape that prevents the institutions to actually produce specific talents that are actually being demanded. Next, from the industry point of view, they have to invest on cadetship programs. And this is where we'd like to emphasize a bit. In Globe, we actually have two management programs that we are doing, which is the General Management Program for postgraduates, and then the Management Associate Program for those undergraduates. And the main core concept of the cadetship program is to actually expose these students to the different functions of the organization, not just only on a specific organization, because it has to enhance the different point of view. Understanding different point of view will actually enhance how you actually make decisions. Integrated monitoring, it's something that we can maximize. We need to monitor the progress of the programs for both ends. Streamlining the requirements of industry. But come on, guys, from the industry, let's make it simple for our industry partners. From our educational institution partners. For our institution partners, we have to apply a case-based activities. And this has to incorporate how it's actually being done on the industry. And when we do this, it's really effective. Even though not at a magnitude or a scale of what's being done in the industry, it has to be, at least they would have the feel for it. For the industry, let's maximize OGT opportunities for learning rather than actually asking these students to do repetitive tasks. And this is something that I have observed from the other, from a handful companies, that they were not actually maximizing this as a learning opportunity or teaching them to learn. And this is actually a missed opportunity for them. Next, on the institution, we have to adapt all the activities, procedures, and manuals for us to be able to make them relatable, just as how we actually did it today. Something that I can relate to the different audiences. Align organizational strategy for both the academic and industry. And this is something that we have to recognize because both, we know, are actually business institutions. And we all have our own strategies for us to move forward. We have to actually incorporate a parallel or overlapping organizational strategy for both. We also need to maximize updated tools and technology. And then we can design student and faculty immersion programs. And this is very crucial. And it's really good to see that it's being incorporated now in some of the programs from the institution. And last but not least is actually continuous review for us to be able to measure the effectiveness of the curriculum and tools implemented by such different techniques. So that actually pretty much summarizes everything of it. And I really hope that everyone from the different audiences was able to actually capture for it, and so that we'll be able to do our own piece in contributing to the improvement of this entire ecosystem. Thank you.
Excellent presentation, Sir Katubag. I really enjoyed and learned a lot from this presentation. We even have a suggestion in the chat box to have a separate webinar on your presentation. So I hope you're available for the next webinar, sir.
Sorry.
And well, what I would like to highlight is actually how you bridge the gap between the academe and the industry. Very clear presentation. We just really hope we have more time for this. As a matter of fact, we still have over 1,000 participants staying and sticking around and listening to all of the presentations, even if it's already 12 p.m. So I think it's evident that everyone's enjoying the presentation. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Michael and Sir Katubag. And last but not the least, to represent our government sector, we have two esteemed speakers. We have Sir Custer C. Deocaris, PhD. Custer C. Deocaris is Scientist 1 of the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, Department of Science and Technology, a partner government agency of the College of Science. He is likewise the former research chief of the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. He is one of the international advisors of UK-based InnovaSpace, a global space life science consultancy, and also a board member of Ban Toxics, an NGO that addresses ecological, child labor, and toxic chemical issues of marginalized gold mining communities, and member of Mensa Philippines, a society of people with high IQ. Then we also have Miss Maria Sheen Imel P. Senyedoza, PTRP, the head CBR program, Binangonan Municipality Rizal Community Partner of the College of Rehabilitation Sciences. She pioneered a community-based rehabilitation center in the municipality of Binangonan, working with the local government as a district physical therapist and rehabilitation team leader. She had then known that her service is dedicated for the community. With her continued advocacy, she serves as a member of CBR Special Interest Group under the Philippine Physical Therapy Association and is currently taking up international health at the UP Open University and envisions herself to advance the practices of healthcare to the community one day. We now give the virtual floor to Dr. Custer Deocaris. Sir Custer?
Hello, John. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to talk about insights from a government collaborator, and we're collaborating with the College of Science of UST, and we are also I'll also be providing insights from our on-the-job training program, which is part of the lecture of this caravan, to increase and to create our the future readiness of our graduates and their employability. Now, let me start first with what's latest and what's the news today. Our president wants the review of education curriculum to address jobs mismatch. In fact, I will also be sharing some of my insights as a former chief of the Commission on Higher Education, and really we have been working until ever since CHED started to address the jobs mismatch, because this is a terrible problem in the Philippines. When I was in CHED, we started the 4th Philippine Graduate Tracer Study. This is a nationwide study on the employability of graduates, and we sampled around 13,000 students all over the country and asked if they're employable and what's the problem with the job education mismatch. And this is one of the biggest telltale signs of the survey, which we cooperated or funded and performed together with the Philippine Institute for Development Studies. Less than half of the students, of the 12,000 students all over the country, consider occupational skills that they learn from college as main reason for landing their first and current jobs. And they feel, a fourth of them feel that the skills that they're getting from higher education institutions are really outdated and mismatched. And that's why predominantly most of them not match occupations, they end up as contact center representatives, clerks in retail and sales, and others, service workers and laborers. And so that's a very sad fact for the higher education sector, and we really need to do something about it. We really need to do something about it. Indeed, the Philippines' debt has reached 13 trillion. During the pandemic, we borrowed a lot of money, and our new administration is seeking to borrow an additional 2.14 billion US dollars from the World Bank to support the economy. What does that mean? For the next 6 years, the gross domestic product of the Philippines, which is 376 billion US dollars pre-pandemic, will have to grow by as much as 24 or 25% just to normalize everything. But things are not going right. We see that a lot of things are happening in the world now, and according to the International Monetary Fund chief, there's gonna be a global recession. That means news for our graduates, all the graduates of our universities. We need to brace for the future. We need to upskill ourselves. We need to fight and compete. If not, we cannot help our families, and we cannot help our country. That brings me to my talk now. Being an employee of the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, I transferred from CHED to the PNRI in 2020, and I'm going to give an overview of what we're looking for from the graduates and how can we help the graduates be more employable. Well, the PNRI is mandated to undertake research and development activities on nuclear energy. In fact, it is our employer branding that we are the most, in terms of publications, the most productive research development institute of the Department of Science and Technology. Here is a picture of our nuclear reactor, and we're very proud to say just last week we've already loaded this with 15 uranium alloys, and this nuclear reactor is now working. It's a research reactor, and we can now do neutron bombardment studies. So we're excited about that. The PNRI has an on-the-job training program, and this is a position which is unpaid. However, it does not guarantee employment to PNRI, but based on the employee status of many of the employee staff at PNRI, I think more than half of the employees here were former on-the-job trainees. So we always tell our students, those who are applying for on-the-job trainee, this is not just part of your curriculum. We are actually looking for talents whom we will pirate or invite for that whenever there's a job opportunity at our institute. I'll give you a short story of what happened last year, because we're talking here about the pandemic. The Polytechnic University of the Philippines approached me and was asking if I can adopt or include in the OJT program 78 of their students, because they could not find any company that would get their students for the on-the-job training, and their students need to graduate. So since the faculty, the dean was my friend, I accepted them, and we had 150 hours of on-the-job training online, and it started from October 2021 until December 2021. The culmination activity is the first annual Biomolecular Science Student Summit, which is about the output of our OJT students. When our OJTs entered the program, they were all given a challenge. The challenge that we gave was for them to perform learning team-based bioinformatics, data analytics work in the fields of vaccine development, plant epigenetics, functional genomics, and molecular pharmacology. During the time that we're working on their OJT and engaging with the students, there are some realities as I learned or realized. Number one, We only have limited virtual coaching sessions. For one, I'm also a very busy scientist, and this is not my job to guide the students in every step. And we cannot allow them to enter PNRI. So everything was done through through Google Meet and Zoom. Second, the students had no formal bioinformatics training. In fact, they don't even know how to get gene sequences from NCBI from the databases. And it's worse, they don't even know how to create vaccines. So we had to teach them how to do bioinformatics within 150 hours to produce good papers and good research outputs. And lastly, some of the students, this is very sad, some of the students don't even have PCs or laptops. They have been attending their classes using their cell phones. And I couldn't imagine how can one design vaccines or perform data analytics with only a cell phone. So these were some of the realities that we faced on the job training program. Nonetheless, after 150 hours, we had the success, we employed and had our students get into the real world of paper presentation. We had board of judges, including Dr. Guido David of Octa Research. We had Dr. P. Alban of UST. We had an academician. We had deans of different universities. To open the Biomass Summit, we had the president of PUP and even invited the Vice President Lenny Robredo to give a talk since her daughter is working in the field of molecular biosciences in New York. We also invited sponsors like Golden Bat, Kia Again, and Slimmers World for the winners. We gave Galaxy Tab, Slimmers World Certificate, and SPA privileges for Slimmers World. And here are our winners. First place went to this group, and they were the ones who developed and predicted potential targets of a radioprotector using an in silico-based approach. And we taught them how to do molecular docking, and they were able to see and look and discover new mechanisms on how a radioprotector can lead to cancer therapy or can be used for cancer therapy. For the first place in poster presentation was the DNA vaccination group, and we gave them a challenge of developing a multi-epitope-based vaccines against filariasis, a very a zoonotic disease that is still endemic in the Philippines. And they were able to derive the different epitopes in the genome and create their own design. So they're designers, and they're also molecular biologists. So what then are we looking for in the graduates based on what happened with their OJTs? So I'm going to present, and here are the top 10 skills that are important in the workforce based on the World Economic Forum for 2020. Number 1 is complex problem solving. Number 2 is critical thinking. Number 3 is always creativity. So these are now the top 3 skills and competencies that we're looking for in graduates. And I believe that through the on-the-job training program of the students that we had, we were able to extract and develop their complex problem thinking skills, their critical thinking skills, and most of all, they were very creative in doing their work. But one of the things that I am really interested in is the factor, which is relatively new, is cognitive flexibility. We are looking for graduates who have a certain degree or who are cognitively flexible. They're the ones who will not complain if we give them a new task, because they'll be able to efficaciously adapt to the new work. We are looking for talents that will align with the expertise need framework. So we developed the framework in our laboratory, and we created five programs, one from precision cancer management to sustainable food systems, to radiologic safety with radioprotectors, to biomedical device development, and to zoonotic disease and vaccine development. And we've already mapped the expertise of all the members of our workforce, and we are here needing in the future mathematicians, biologists, systems engineers, and chemical engineers to supplement the activities of our laboratory. We are not looking, in our lab, you will not be robots. You will not be a factory robot. You will not do things routinely. We don't like workers who are happy and contented doing the same things for the next decade. just because they're comfortable doing it. We want them to be adaptive to the new challenges. We don't want them to be bored. We want them to study, take their grad studies, and seek new challenges, and even share their knowledge to others. In our lab, we will be looking for those who have high potential. You're not just going to be a high performer. You have to be a person with high action potential, para siyang mga calcium channels. When I say high potential, you have the potential to improve your rank in the workplace and eventually be probably a career scientist in the next 5 to 10 years. We want those who are empathic, somebody who care for others and who will be able to look for or seek problems or know the problems in society, so that we'll be able to develop solutions using S&T. And a little bit on the side, you have to be artistic and innovative. You know, I'm tired of dancing and singing during our Christmas parties, and we're looking for new people, new hires who are artistic and innovative. In fact, 20 years ago, I recommended one of my former students who was the Britney Spears in physics, and I told the chief then, can we hire this girl because she can be a very good dancer during our Christmas break, and plus the fact that she's also a physicist. And lo and behold, she's now the deputy director of my institute. Hopefully, once you get in government service as a researcher, you will have the chance to get into the scientific career system. What's a scientific career system? You may enter in a very low rank. Your salary may be similar to an assistant professor or even an instructor. But in 1 year, if you are scientifically productive, you can have a jump in your salary grade to have a salary grade of even higher than the director of the institute. Okay, so I entered PNRI in 2020, and in 2021, I became conferred as a career scientist by the Civil Service Commission, by the country, and I'm now enjoying a career, a salary grade and some privileges that I never enjoyed even when I was still with CHED. What are we, in essence, what are we really looking for? I mean, I gave you some of the things or little minute details, but all of this really has something to do with cognitive flexibility. Schools would have to teach their students to be cognitively flexible, or to possess the ability to shift your thoughts and adapt your behavior to the changing environment. And in other words, you should have the ability to disengage yourself from the previous tasks that you are doing. In other words, your schools will have to teach you to be able to change the way you do things. Otherwise, you will not be able to adapt for the future. You will not be future ready. And with that, we have a next batch of OJT students, and this time we got UST. We are very happy with UST, and we taught them how to perform epigenetic analysis, and we analyzed how our students, our new OJT students who just completed the program some weeks back, we measured their divergent thinking skills, their creativity, as well as the domain knowledge. We taught them epigenetics, how your behaviors and environment can cause changes in the way their genes work without having their DNA sequence changed. And this has something to do with, a lot of this has something to do with histone modification, DNA methylation. In other words, we made our students perform projects to understand the phenomenon of radiation epigenetics and how the different modification of histones and DNA methylation changes as a result of stress. And in effect, in the future, we can link this with other phenotypes such as obesity or even behavior. Here are some of the learning activities during our OJT. We even invented a new teaching modality called Oracle Challenge. We had the lectures and project-based activity, and here is the results of their Oracle Challenge. And within the framework of our cognitive flexibility, we analyze self-efficacy, creativity, and how this contribute to domain knowledge. And in terms of adoption and production of high quality research outputs from our OJTs. We even had an ethics approval, and now we're analyzing the structure evaluation model of the different competencies of the OJT students from PUP. And let me end my talk. We're looking now for a science research specialist one. We have a new project. We're developing the most advanced wound dressing that has imprinted electronic sensors that can be analyzed by an app, and it's combined with electrospinning and nanotechnology. So we're looking for graduates of chemistry, biochemistry, biomedical engineering, chemical engineering, or molecular biology. Graduates who have good analytical skills, excellent writing and oral presentation skills, strong work ethics, enthusiastic in doing interdisciplinary research, who are coachable, who are team players but can work independently, and don't forget, with pleasing personality. Okay, always, that's very important. You may send me an email, send me a CV, and we can hire you by August or September. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. De Ocaris. Thank you so much we appreciate the significant contribution of the government in this ecosystem. Thank you, Dr. De Ocaris. And now, Ma'am Sheen, go ahead.
Sir, can you share my screen?
Okay. Oh, okay, one moment.
Sir James, I'll help you share.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can you see it now, Ma'am Sheen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Shin MLP Senyadosa from Binangonan, Rizal, and we are one of the community partners of UST Simbahayan. I will briefly introduce our CBR program and how we manage to continue our services and internship during these trying times. Next. First, I will quickly describe what CBR is. So community-based rehabilitation is a strategy advocated by the World Health Organization, which addresses rehabilitation, balancing of opportunity, reduction of poverty, and empowerment of persons with special needs. Next. So before the pandemic, we go out to the community and implement various programs for the PWDs and community members. As you can see in the picture, we do home visit to island barangays in Binangonan together with the interns. We also conduct programs for persons with disability and their families. We see to it that the interns will experience and learn how to manage community programs. Okay, next. The recent pandemic has taken a toll on the world's health, social, economic, and political aspects affecting the people at the fringes of society. The paralysis of healthcare system delivery has transcended not just beyond the walls of hospitals and clinics, but also the marginalized individuals in the community, particularly persons with disability. Luckily, through the partnership between the municipality of Binangonan and the UST Simbahayan, we can still engage in programs such as health promotion and awareness. We are able to distribute hygiene kits and learning materials to the residents of island barangays. Next. Rather than halting the activities for the community and possibly waiting for the pandemic to be resolved, CBR Binangonan decided to continue providing rehabilitation services through tele-rehab, in-center, and blended approach. In the in-center approach, together with the Municipal Health Office of Binangonan, we were able to create protocols including wearing of PPE during treatment, strategized patient and staffing schedule, regular disinfection routine every after patient, and utilization of health declaration form. Up to this date, minimal health protocols are still observed. Next. Provision of rehabilitation services through telehealth in collaboration with medical doctors, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology professionals, and students. Internship program using teletherapy proved to be effective in most patients. Next. Despite of the pandemic, CBR Binangonan still able to be part of the internship program with the two universities, namely University of Santo Tomas and Manila Adventist College. This is done through a blended approach. In this way, we are able to aid the aspiring future professionals in the field of rehabilitation to gain exposure to patient treatment, and in turn, helping our patient to maximize their rehabilitation potential. The blended approach allowed the patient to visit the center under the assistance of CBR staff with the guidance of rehab professionals. The PT working on-site, while the OTs, SLPs, and the interns virtually present. It is important to highlight that the CBR staff are equipped with basic therapy skills and were all trained by the resident rehab professionals to do so. Next. Overall, I'm just so proud to have imparted to you how our community, with the help of our interns, was able to manage the needs of our citizens in the aspect of rehabilitation. The resiliency of our program might be our biggest asset during these trying times, and it is with high hopes that we were able to pass it on to our students. The local government of Binangonan, with the leadership of our mayor, Cesar Inares, which is also a UST alumnus, has shown immense support in our internship program. And I am so happy to have been and continuously being part of the consultations on how we can progress in the healthcare sector. My vision is to inspire everyone that we, professionals, teachers, and students can take part in the development of our nation and eventually create significant changes in the healthcare setting of our country. Thank you, and I hope that with my brief presentation, I was able to showcase everyone our CBR program. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank UST Simbahayan and UST CRS for the never-ending support and for always supporting our community here in Binangonan, Rizal. God bless, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Sheen. And I have 3 words: future-ready graduates. I believe because of government's contribution, significant contribution, we are really producing future-ready graduates. So thank you very much once again, Dr. Deocaris, and also Ma'am Sheen. And now, I'd like to remind everyone that the evaluation form is already available, or the evaluation form link is already available in the chat box. Please do not forget to accomplish it. Now, we will proceed to the discussion of the open forum. As a matter of fact, I believe Sir Alvin was able to collate all the questions. And in the interest of time, our esteemed resource persons will be given a copy of those collated questions that you raised, and they will respond to these questions offline, and the committee in charge will send you a copy once available. I also noticed that our speakers were able to answer some of the questions that you raised in the Q&A box and also in the chat box. And as we speak, our speakers are still answering some of these questions. I won't be reading questions anymore, for we do not have time, but I really appreciate your active participation and all of your questions. The committee and the organizers are very much appreciative of your active participation. Next, we proceed to the awarding of Certificate of Appreciation to each of our speakers. Let me read the citation once. University of Santo Tomas UST Alumni Association Incorporated in partnership with the Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to Ma'am Caroline Nanca Ataide, MSc, the Chair of Health Allied Strand of UST Senior High School, Academe Experience, for having generously shared her expertise and experiences in AAIG 2022 NCR Caravan, given this July 13, 2022 at the Pontifical, Royal, and Catholic University of Santo Tomas, España Boulevard, Manila, Philippines. Signed, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, UST Professor Cheryl R. Peralta, DRPH. The Director of UST CCPED, Associate Professor Jocelyn F. Agkawili, MHPED, MSPT. Chairman of UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Dean Henry S. Tenedero, MDM, CPM. And the President of UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Professor Evelyn A. Sonko, PhD. Congratulations, Mama Taide, and thank you very much. Congratulations, Engineer Charlie A. Marquez, MSIE, PIE. Thank you. Thank you, and congratulations, Assistant.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Assistant Professor Froilan A. Alipao, MCD, the Director of UST Simbahayan Community Development Office. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Ma'am Via Katrina G. Portera Maria, MA RGC, incoming Lead Counselor of the Career Services Team, the UST Counseling and Career Center.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you po. Congratulations and thank you, Dr. Anthony Faraon, Deputy Executive Director of Zuelig Family Foundation. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Aldi H. Fajardo, MMHOA, MPMG, R&D, LPT, the OIC Nutrition and Dietetics Division.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you din po. Okay, one moment. We just want to make sure that we pin the speakers together with their certificates for photo opportunities. Let me just know if I need to go back to certificates. Dear EdTech, are we good?
We proceed na po. We proceed.
Okay, all right. Next is we thank also Mr. Aloysius Michael.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joseph Richard Kadubag, MBA. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Custer De Ocaris. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Maria Sheen Emel P. Senyedoza, PTRP.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's it. Again, we thank you and we congratulate you. We appreciate your time and expertise. It's really very fruitful. Our participants enjoyed all of your discussions and sharing and insights. Thank you very much. And now, for the recommitment to the manifestation of solidarity, we call on the President of the UST Alumni Association Incorporated, Professor Dr. Evelyn Sonko. Dr. Sonko?
Thank you very much. I'll make this very brief, but really, I would like to greet everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Cheryl Peralta, the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, to the academic officials, staff of the University of Santo Tomas, the 2022 AAIG NCR Caravan Champion, the representatives from the industry, the government, and to all the AAIG participants, and definitely our guests. On behalf of the UST AAI, allow me first to express our gratitude to the Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs for acceding to our invitation to be the AAIG convener for the NCR region. We believe that this indicates the university's concern for her alumni, specifically the young graduates who are transitioning to the world of work. And you know, the Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs has been journeying with the UST AAI since 2018, when for the first time, we had an afternoon conversation with the curriculum planners of the university. That inspired us to initiate the AAIG 2019. So also, thank you to the cited headed by Assistant Professor Ruby Paez and to the EdTech that is headed by Assistant Professor Cheryl Ramos for their great contribution to the success of the 2022 AAIG NCR Caravan. And definitely, we thank all our guest speakers for their wonderful insights. And so my friends, let us now say together our manifestation of solidarity for this particular advocacy. Are we sharing now? Do we have the...
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I read and let us just read all together. And I hope that this will really be at the top of your mind. We, the participants of the 2022 Academe, Alumni, Industry, and Government, or AAIG Caravan, held on July 13, 2022 via Zoom, hereby declare and manifest in solidarity with one another our commitment to the following statements. Whereas we are cognizant of the multiple challenges that fresh graduates experience as they search for rewarding careers in employment or entrepreneurship in today's world of work. Whereas we recognize the important roles that academe, alumni, industry, and government play in the national development and the unique contribution that each of them make in creating favorable environments and innovative pathways that enable fresh alumni in transitioning successfully from their pursuit of academic qualifications to their meaningful practice of a profession or a vocation. Whereas we believe that the need for open communications, continuing engagements, and joint collaborations among the academe, industry, and government in forging collective and alumni-centric initiatives aimed at propelling the fresh alumni toward optimized personal, professional, and economic well-being and development. And whereas we believe that the empowered alumni is a critical contributor to the nation's social capital formation and an indispensable force toward the realization of the envisioned inclusive and sustainable development of the Philippines today and well into the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the 2022 AAIG Caravan participants, 1, affirm that the 2022 AAIG Caravan shall serve as a historical milestone that sets into motion the sustainable regular staging of a national and international AAIG summit every other year. 2, endorse the UST Alumni Association Incorporated and the UST Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education shall continue to spearhead the AAIG summits with support from friends and other like-minded individuals and groups. And 3rd, commit to support continuing conversations, collaborations, and initiatives with significant academe, alumni, industry, and government partners being undertaken at various levels: regional, provincial, city, municipal, or institutional, to create synergies, achieve successes, and drum up widening awareness and interest leading up to the staging of the subsequent AAIG summits, manifested this 13th day of July 2022. Friends, thank you very much for sharing with us in this advocacy. And of course, together, I know this advocacy of bringing together academe, alumni, industry, and government into a meaningful conversation will be successful with you and me. Let us continue listening, conversing, and collaborating to facilitate the transition of our graduates to the world of work in the light of the ever-changing ecosystem of industry, academe, government. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Songko. And let us now call on the chair of the UST AAI main convener, AAIG 2022 Caravan Series, Dean Henry Tenedero, for his closing remarks. Dr. Tenedero.
Thank you very much, JP. Good afternoon, everyone. This will be very, very brief. I know all of us are already hungry, but nonetheless, we will not let this opportunity to come to pass without first appreciating the leadership of Dr. Cheryl Peralta, the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, for marshaling the energy to put up with us this particular AAIG series starting in the NCR. So allow me to read to you the Certificate of Appreciation, the University of Santo Tomas, UST Alumni Association Incorporated, in partnership with the Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development. This Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to the University of Santo Tomas, the Office of the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, as our local convener for the AAIG 2022 NCR Caravan, given this July 13, 2022, at the Royal and Catholic University of Santo Tomas, España Boulevard, Manila, signed by Associate Professor Jocelyn Agawili, the Director for the Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, Professor Dr. Evelyn A. Songko, the President of the UST Alumni Association, and yours truly, the Chair of the Board of Trustees and the Council of Presidents. Our event will soon come to pass. In a little while, our togetherness will simply become part of your calendar date. But let the moments, as we listen to the amazing presentations of practitioners in the field who mesmerized our intellectual capacity, who have moved our emotional fibers into moving AIG into an ecosystem anchored on 4.0 work-based environment. Napakagandang isipin na maya-maya lamang kita'y magiging kabahagi ng ating NCR. Pero bago tayo say goodbye sa bawat isa, allow me in brief to tell you the 7 soul-inspiring and deep-seated reasons why we have this AAIG. Number 1, AAIG is about transforming change. It's bridging in real terms the seeming gap among the 4 sectors. Number 2, AAIG is about catalyzing strategic and sustained partnership. We began this journey. This story began in 2019. In 2020, we redefined the very purpose of our existence because we never expected that COVID would be around. 2021, we continued to repurpose the very essence, the meaning of our existence as human beings, not as human doings. That's why 2022, we decided to have this caravan as a living testament for our desire to put flesh and meaning into our story, the AAIG now, the ecosystem that is blowing the minds of our participants. Number 3, It is about building appropriate skills and competencies. AAIG believes in valuing individual differences, in knowing for the fundamental fact that every person has genius potentials in more ways than one. In short, lahat tayo ay may taglay na henyo, maging sino at ano ka paman. Number 4, AAIG is redefining and rehumanizing the roles of institutions into believing that real success in life, not only in the workplace, is a combination of your IQ, talino, your EQ, your pakikisama or your puso, and number 3, your DQ or your diskarte. We were able to peddle the grit, determination in us. That's why 2022, we are reframing our mind frames. We are putting a new meaning into our existence. Number 5, AAIG is about nurturing the new roles of the alumni associations. So we believe that alumni associations should not only be a social club, a fellowship club, a fundraising club, that alumni associations can become a vital force in forging and espousing societal change in our society. Number 6, AAIG, as what Dr. Hidalgo said, is about coming together and responding together by applying the humanics curriculum of combining, synergizing data literacy, technology literacy, and above all, human-centric literacy. And finally, AAIG is about advancing and progressing sustainability. The pursuit for the common good is for all. It is not only for the private schools, it's not only for the big schools, but much more to the 27 million who are now preparing themselves in the depth and basic education. And that is the commitment of AAIG. There are many ways of skinning the cat. If you go home this afternoon, if you go back to your place and practice at least even one learning insight, then you have made your purpose meaningful in this event. So once again, maraming salamat sa inyo and safe journey at mabuhay ang AAIG ecosystem. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Dean Tenedero. And now, we'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for sharing your invaluable time attending this webinar. We also would like to thank Rex Education for sponsoring this event. Please do not forget to accomplish the evaluation form. The link will be open until 12 midnight today. For inquiries, please do not forget to email ccped@usd.edu.ph. On behalf of the USD Alumni Association Incorporated, USD Graduate School Center for Continuing Professional Education and Development, or CCPED, the USD Office of Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Cited and EdTech, this has been John Paulo Herrera and Alvin Ringo Reyes. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and hope to see you in our next AAIG Caravan. Have a great day, everyone. We now sing the USD hymn.
With your golden lilies, this mountain of beauty.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome po. Thank you
Dr.
so
Che.
much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Marami pong salamat.
Ay, naku,
Maraming salamat
congratulations.
po to everyone.
Congratulations po.